sit down and stay a while. We've got the Sun Belt Conference opener right here at Stone Stadium, JP. The Gamecocks take on number 10 Marshall for the conference opener, and we can't say how excited we are for this one.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's been a bit since you've seen me and Spencer here on our beautiful press box camera. But the Gamecocks have played the same no matter who's on the call. They still remain undefeated. And Spencer, for the first time in a long time, the Gamecocks receiving votes in top 25 polls. And they have a huge game on deck here tonight to kick off conference play in a tough conference. There's going to be a lot of these types of games, but you get your first game at home against a top 10 opponent, and an opponent, Spencer, that South Carolina has struggled with in recent years.
That's right. It's the first time they've received votes, as you said, since 2016. That's also the last time they've beaten Marshall was here at Stone Stadium all the way back in 2016. They had a different head coach. Tony Annam hasn't yet strolled into the program, but so far this is his most successful campaign. The Gamecocks have been performing extremely well to start the season, and you got to think a win here against the Thundering Herd, that'll see them, propel their way into the top 25.
And what did Coach tell us before the game, Spencer?
He said that it didn't really matter where they were in the preseason poll, that it didn't bother them at all, because he said if they redid the polls right now, it'd be a whole lot higher than 6th, and we couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. He was like, of course, they're taking a little bit of a chip on their shoulder with it, but, it's about so much more than just that. And as we approach the anthem here, we'll take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
For the performance of our national anthem.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And we're back here at Stone Stadium again for the Sun Belt Conference opener. Should have said it a little earlier, but I'm Spencer Ball. He's JP Barry, and, well, hopefully you know us by now. We're a bunch of old men up here in the booth. And, JP, you said it's the first time they've seen us in a while, but we're sweating like usual.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a steamer up here, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we expect nothing else here in Columbia. First day of fall is on Sunday, but it's still like the first day of summer.
Projected
down here.
over 90s, first day of fall. Doesn't feel very fall-like just yet, but tell you what, that doesn't stop us from hosting a good old soccer match right here at Stone Stadium. And again, I think we should get into the starting lineups.
Yes, but you want me to take the Gamecocks here? I mean, it's a little bit what we're used to. You got Philip Vistier in net. He had a season high 5 saves in the win against East Tennessee State. That the Gamecocks won 2-0 with a man down for a vast majority of the contest. Then at your defenseman, you have Andrew Goldsworthy, Junior St. Just, William Nielsen. Nielsen's seen an uptick in starts and playing time. Goldsworthy, kind of the stalwart, maybe defensive MVP of this team, and Junior St. Just, a Swiss Army knife, if you will, on the pitch. Your midfielders, Ethan Ballack, the transfer from Virginia Tech, one of the best transfers, I think, in college soccer so far. Then you have Jonah Begar, Camden Kowalski, and Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez, as well as Ted Cargill. Harrison Myring and Gabe Nickerson round out your stars at the forward position, but I find it interesting that Cargill is starting, but it could be in place of Sebastian Revenlow.
I was about to bring that up. He got a red card just a couple minutes into last game's match. Still, USC Upstate fell to the blade of the Gamecocks 4-0. You know, it's not very often that you see that after a red card, but the team performed very admirably. And now it's time to look at the Thundering Herd starting lineup. In the midfield, they have Tiago Apollinario, as well as Ryan Holmes, Taimu Okayoshi, Tarek Panholzer, Pablo Simon, Loic Senikong, Alexander Stjerngard, and Teo Godar. Up front, the forwards, they have Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, and, excuse me, I misread a couple names there. Tarek Panholzer and Senikong are going to be playing up front as well. And in defense is Hai Pinto, and it's Alexa Yannick in goal. They've kind of gone back and forth between their goalies. They've each started 3 games apiece, so this one's going to go to Alexa Yannick instead of Dan Rose. And, you know, we didn't really have much of a clue who was going to start in goal because, again, they've been going kind of one-off with each. But I tell you what, there has been a consistent link in this team throughout, and that's their head coach, Chris Grassi, in his 8th season. One of the more proven coaches in college soccer. JP, tell us about their 2020 season.
Well, you know, in their 2020 season, it was just their second all-time NCAA tournament appearance, and they went all the way. They made it to the tournament for the first time in program history in 2019. They have not missed the dance since, and they've made it to the Sweet 16 every year since 2019, except for 2021. But winning it all in 2020, a huge feat for this program. They were very good a season ago, I think, making it all the way back to that Sweet 16. And, you know, they brought back a lot of talent from that squad, highly ranked to begin the year. But, you know, they've struggled offensively. They lost 2-0 to Xavier on the road in their second game of the season. And most recently, they tied St. John's at home. St. John's, one of the not as good teams in a pretty good Big East.
And, if, you know, if there's any Big East supporter bigger than this guy, you know, I'll have to see him because I know you love Big East basketball, but their men's soccer, you know, conference is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, you know, the Seton Hall Pirates, number 8. Shout out the boys from South Orange, New Jersey. But we're about to get underway here from Stone Stadium. So we'll turn over the majority of the yapping to my good friend Spencer Ball as Sandstorm will play.
You know, we like to trade off play-by-play duties, but this one's going to be a fun one. I tell you what, another constant here at Stone Stadium has been the crowd. We've got an absolutely packed one here. And, you know, it's not come as a surprise. This team, you know, consistently plays in front of a huge fan base. Today they've got, you know, the little, I don't know.
What do you call those?
I was thinking, I don't know what you call them.
You see them in NBA games
little
a lot.
plastic bubble stick kind of things.
Like
but
I feel like we've seen these a lot at the Clippers games.
you know, then their new dome, we might see a bit more of them. The Gamecocks, of course, applying their traditional pressure. They do typically opt to do that, you know.
We're looking into it strongly, ladies and gentlemen.
We sure are. It's Marshall in the all-black kits with, you know, green trim. South Carolina in their all-whites, garnet trim. And so they just got the ball. Junior St. Just over there. He's going to whip it across already. Saved by Micah there. Gamecocks still have it, just trying to keep it in the box. But it is going to be controlled by Marshall there. It looked like St. Just was going to look for a cross to Nickerson coming on that far side of the box, but alas, it was just poked foul. Marshall, an errant pass leads to a Gamecock corner, and they're starting fast here, less than a minute in.
And that's what the Gamecocks love to do. You know, this is going to be a clash of styles. Marshall likes to slow the game down, you know, kind of drag games into a defensive slugfest, at least so far in the early onset of the season. And Spencer, you know, on that chance by the Gamecocks, they actually beat the goalie, but the ball was kicked away by a Marshall player. But unfortunately, it's hard to make up the numbers on these Thundering Herd kits with the black numbers on a black jersey.
I was about to say, you know, it's very hard to see what defensemen were kind of involved there, but it was Yannick with the save. And St. Just, I don't know if that's necessarily going to go down as a shot because it didn't look super on goal, but Yannick decided to come out and claim it anyways. And Marshall's got it now in the midfield. Intercepted there from Nielsen. No call as the crowd kind of wanted to foul.
He hit the deck, ladies and gentlemen.
He did. Velasquez Lopez in pursuit here. And the Gamecocks, I mean, you know, JP, we've seen them wait 10 or so minutes before really cranking up the pressure. But right now, they're trying not to let Marshall breathe.
Well, yeah, you know, and that speaks a lot, I think, to the stage this game is for this Gamecock program. But they're playing a lot up, you know, kind of in that midfield defense. Their defenders are way up. They got their back line playing around near the center line. And Jonah Bagar there with a nice play.
Yeah, physical play. I mean, went through 2 Thundering Herd
now we have a
players.
bruised ego.
Yeah, well, that might be the best way to describe it as, you know, pleading for a foul. Marshall will win a throw in there. It's Pinto with it right around the midfield line. kind of an errant throw. Harrison Meyring's going to intercept it, and it's him. He goes for goal there from about the halfway line.
I mean, hey, that was Valentine.
Well, it looked, I think, worse than the idea was because he had Yannick kind of off his line. If he strikes that a little bit better, might have been able to chip it right over him. I'm okay with that attempt because it was either that or, you take on about 5 defenders to get there. So
No, and if Harrison Meyering does it, you just don't really question it. He's been one of the best players in all of men's soccer this season, leading the Gamecocks in pretty much every offensive stat imaginable, ranking in the top 10 across the nation.
and this one's intercepted by Nielsen playing up. He's going to go for a shot. It just misses wide right of the net. Kind of opened up that foot, went for a little bit of a curler.
Dude, I think that's a worse shot than the Meyering one in terms of he kind of went short side with it. He had the entire left side of the net to work with, but he just tried to knock it into that right corner. But who am I to say?
He did. I think it was a great attempt. Just nothing doing. Baunk's going to pressure the goal there, and Yannick, cool as ever, but again, a very dangerous situation. Goldsworthy comes up. He wins it, gets it to St. Just. And this is pressure I don't think we've seen the Gamecocks apply before. This is certainly one of a kind, but it's also seemingly a bit of a different formation. They've got 4 at the back today, JP. We've seen them typically go with 3, but for right now, it's Nickerson in the back left, Jonah Bagar and Goldsworthy, the central center backs, and outright, it's Camden Kowalski. So very interesting, kind of tactical change here, and not sure we were expecting that, but I tell you what, when we asked Coach Annan what it was going to take to beat Marshall, he left us with one word, goals. Tell you what, you got to respect it because he's right. They've got to score against Marshall, and that's something this team has been really good at limiting, only allowing 4 goals on the young season. They'll head away, the throw in from Goldsworthy, but South Carolina going to retain possession. Here's Cargill. He whips in across. Kowalski's in the box. Goes over his head, but Nielsen still has it, and the offside flag goes up.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see that actually be called after a certain game against a team from the upstate. But, I digress on that one. I love what I'm seeing early from the Gamecocks. Very, very aggressive on defense. They're playing up a lot as they're showing the series history there up on the Bowling family scoreboard. But, in a matchup like this with 2 teams such as this, the previous history kind of goes out of the window.
It sure does, and I think rightfully so as Marshall plays a through ball in. They've got somebody on. The offside flag stays down for now. It's Loic Sonny Kong. He's in the box. He's going to whip in a left-footed shot. Vistier with a cool, calm, and collected save as that one didn't pose too much of a threat, but a nice move there from the Thundering Herd.
Yeah, you'll love to see that from Vistier. Of course, it kind of looked like it took a clip off the heel of a Gamecock as Vistier's going to launch this one about the length of the average Iowa Hawkeyes punt.
A young Torrey
field.
Taylor in goal, I see.
Yes, but Vistier, he was really the one, and it wasn't really his fault. The defense from the Gamecocks was so good, there just weren't many shot attempts on goal, but his save percentage was, really kind of the only statistical part of this team you look at and you're like, ugh. But, he's been playing very well lately, especially as the Gamecocks have played a lot of time on the man down.
I was just about to mention that. His last time out, arguably his best performance. I think he had 5 saves in that one, JP. And
he did indeed.
That's very impressive. Marshall trying to play in kind of a switch ball there to the far side. Nothing doing, and it goes into the standing room only crowd out there.
Maybe that's the women's team because it's right outside of the facility.
I think you're on to something there.
I've always wondered that because I'm like, who is sitting over there? But, it's
smart
nice to
play
see.
And a great interception there from Jonah Bagar as that one could have been trouble if it got by him. Velasquez Lopez is dispossessed, and he wants a foul, but it
that was
won't
Ryan
be given.
Holmes from Marshall with a kind of, I thought it was clean. A very physical kind of box out wrestling possession back away from Velasquez Lopez.
I think you're right. And, again, we're going to try our best with the Marshall names, but it's the black-on-black number, so it's just really hard to see
tough.
who has the ball for them. But we'll tell you what, there's William Nielsen along with Harrison Meyering up front, just playing a little give and go up there, but a key interception from High Pinto cuts that one out. They're going to play it into Sandy Kong. Bigar, aggressive play, comes all the way forward to intercept it. Nielsen with it now. Tries to get it past to Velasquez Lopez, but it's sniffed out by the Herd. And it's going to be a foul there. Definitely a foul because you just, took him off the ball there. Even though it was a little soft, you got to call that every time. That was Rodriguez de Santos looking to get him back behind, but
You know,
Nothing doing.
with a fan base like South Carolina's after, the officiating of the Clemson soccer game and the officiating last weekend in the LSU game, giving them, like, projectiles was maybe not the smartest idea. That's at least my take
Hey,
on
and
the
you know what?
situation.
Knowing the Gamecock fan base like we do, it really might not be the smartest because we saw a couple water bottles on the field after the LSU football game, and maybe rightly so in that case. But we'll stick to what's on the pitch in front of us. It's Pinto playing in a through ball to Sandy Kong. Bigar, I mean, he's looked really good in that left back position so far tonight.
And as the season has gone by, he has ramped it up tremendously. I've been really impressed with him on both ends, but especially his defense. In the early onsets of the season, that was something he kind of struggled with. But of course, speaking of defense, in that back right corner under the scoreboard, Junior St. Just shutting it down like cops at a block party.
That's right. He's, they're the Gamecocks. It's kind of their MO, sniff out the ball. But this is going to be Marshall's. Well, Nickerson just dispossesses Pinto there. That was just some great.
That was prime Darrell Rivas breaking up the ball there.
That's what it looked like.
The references are kind of flowing right now, but the Gamecocks are wired coming out of this, and Marshall's weathered the storm. They've only allowed really the two chances for the Gamecocks, and they've generated one of their own. So I think these are two very worthy opponents on the night.
They are, and they're going to be two high-energized teams. I mean, this is the first game played in the Sun Belt period, as no other teams have met before today. So this kind of sets the tone for the whole conference schedule, right? Either team has a chance to go 1-0 and sit atop the table. Pinto, he got whistled for going too far away from the throw-in spot. Now he's just got no one to throw it to. He finally gets it in, but Myring on the tails.
Man.
That's right. And again, the Gamecocks are sticking to that 4 at the back formation so far today. I think that's very interesting, but I think Sun Belt Conference play, I kind of like the change, JP. You throw a wrench in, all the film that Marshall watched in the 3 at the back formation, it goes awry, and they're going to have to rely on halftime changes.
Yeah, but there's a tough play there by Ted Cargill.
Hey, you know what? He didn't get a card for it. I think you're okay with the physical tackle. Just didn't go his way. Pinto has it now on the near touch line. He works it into Dos Santos. He dribbles in, looks to go into the box. He doesn't quite get there. Sterngard with it now, cut out by Nickerson. Nice play from Gabe Nickerson. Just didn't allow Sterngard to get by and whip it across.
He's someone I've been super impressed with as the season has progressed. He came off the bench the first couple games we did, and he solidified himself as a great starter there on the back end.
And the crazy thing about him is, JP, true freshman, this kid.
True freshman.
I mean, him and Velasquez Lopez have been those youngsters that have just slotted right into the team and done wonders. Seems like Marshall has been really trying to work this near side line. It's Pinto and Sandy Kong down here trying to do a lot of the offensive work.
Shades of David Ash in the Ospreys.
Oh, that's real ones. Remember, there's Holmes. He gets it out to his left, working the opposite touchline this time. St. Just in defense. Can't quite see who's on the ball, but it's a team in black. Player in black and green. As someone goes down in the box, and luckily for the Gamecocks, that one is not called a penalty.
I think it was good. I think it was a good no call. Junior St. Just, he played it very well. It very easily could have been a penalty kick for Marshall, but the way he kind of used his body.
His hands were up. It's just always a dangerous thing to see whenever you see an opposing player go down in the box because, really, that was a judgment call. Nickerson cuts out a long pass. He's got Myring up ahead. He'll just play it forward. Yannick comes all the way out, probably 25 yards from the goalie box. And he launches it all the way down to Vistier. So we got a little goalie-to-goalie action. Vistier, easy claim for him, and they're going to reset.
Already, 11 and a half minutes have gone by here at Stone Stadium between these two teams. And it's been the pace of play.
Sure has, and both teams have kind of had two stays in each other's zones, if you will. A little bit of a hockey reference, but, both teams kind of setting up shop in both halves for about half the time, really. And South Carolina, they send the ball down, and now they're looking to press. Marshall's done a good job in the last 5 minutes instead of the first 5 minutes of really kind of beating the press and getting in behind.
Yeah, I agree, but I definitely think that the pace of this game right now is being pushed by South Carolina. They're kind of controlling. Because even when Marshall gets out on the attack or breaks the press, they're doing it, with the kind of speed that South Carolina wants them to play at for all 90 minutes, because they feel like they cannot do it and keep up with South Carolina's conditioning and athleticism.
DeSantos with it now. He plays it to Pinto to his right. About 30 yards away from goal here on the near side touchline. Nice slide tackle from Cargill. He thought it went off Pinto instead, and he pleads his case. But nonetheless, it doesn't go his way. A throw in for Marshall. Pinto looks to get it in.
And, it really is a nice change of pace to see the clock move in a sporting event after I covered the 5-hour Benedict football experience the other night.
Great game, but
great game, along with the Gamecock game on Saturday. These are the moments you appreciate soccer.
That's right. Pinto with it now. He gets it to his left. Now it goes all the way back to Okayoshi. Second most minutes on the team to Alexander Sterngard, who also leads the team in points with 6. Those two guys kind of been the rocks for this Thundering Herd team in defense and in the midfield. It's going to be a switch ball played all the way over to Pinto. He gets it forward to Sandy Kong, who's been kind of their main attacking threat. That's who they're looking to single out. Pinto with it now. He's going to send the ball into the box. Bigar looks to cut it out. Marshall still with possession, though. They're going to whip in across. Goldsworthy just gets the top of his head to it, so Vistier doesn't have to work too hard. Ball still right around the box here for Marshall as they're going to pass it around. And switch play. Okayoshi with it now. He gets it over to Pinto, and again, these are the guys. He whips in across. It's a good one, but Goldsworthy cuts it out. And it's Ethan Ballett coming forward looking to intercept the pass, but the Thundering Herd's still with it, and they've kind of got just an 8-man wall around this box. A player slips, though. St. Just tries to capitalize. Marshall still with it, clips it into the box.
I like that play, though, by Marshall. Of course, nobody was on the receiving end of it, but that was a very clean entry into the box. There wasn't even a Gamecock there. Vistier was able to collect it safely, but that's maybe something you kind of go back to for Marshall later on in the game.
Yeah, I think you're right, but Goldsworthy just proved how valuable he is. He got his head to all of the headers there except for the one that missed everybody. And, just that, we've nicknamed him, of course, the fire extinguisher, and wisely so.
Yep, and, I've always wondered this with soccer. How do they choose what color the goalkeeper wears?
Now, that's a great question because to me it looks, I think it's just assigned to your team because Vistier showed up in yellow every single home game. Velasquez Lopez, a great interception there. Nickerson falls to his feet. He clips it into Ethan Ballack, heads it on to Myring just outside the box. He wanted to play him back, but Myring just a hair off sides, but that was some electric offensive play from the Gamecocks there.
Yeah, that was like the Globetrotters
very
on
crafty.
The pitch.
Yeah.
But, going back to the question, it's just that, Vistier, I think it makes a little bit of sense. You've seen the yellow on the Gamecock women's basketball uniforms. For Marshall, bright red with red
I
cleats.
don't think it has anything to do with the school. I think it's just a visible character. So, there's no confusion. Well, you won't see any green or garnet here, just so, everybody can identify the goalies. And I think that's the main purpose because,
that's true.
I
don't want you to know
if they were wearing the same jerseys, it'd be a lot easier to kind of hide handballs and see who. It's very easy to tell when a goalie makes a mistake or does something great because they're highlighted. And while I was talking, Marshall, I was going to say they're passing it about, but Nickerson again, he's intercepted multiple passes tonight. He takes on Okayoshi, gets taken down. No call. I saw the ball was gotten there first, but Gamecocks do intercept it as the no call.
He got stopped initially by a Nickerson was here. A Marshall guy slid there and stopped him, and then another one pushed him from behind and tabletopped him over the guy who was down.
Yeah, and
that's just shocking.
Instead of
I play demonstrations with my hands up here,
like
course.
A Telecaster. I don't know what it's called, where you see ESPN when their yellow marker can draw on the screen. We've got JP's just hands in front of our camera here, and
my brutish,
high budget,
nerve damage ridden hands.
Is a dangerous pass from Marshall, just gets by. The Gamecocks again looking for that pressure. It's going to be a switching ball played all the way up to the front left, and Kowalski falls. Marshall's got it, a little bit of a break here, but they slow down play. And a good job for the Gamecocks just to cut out the pace of that attack from Marshall. They still have possession, but.
Yeah, but now Marshall's going to do a lot of what we saw in that last.
That's right.
They're going to pack in that wall, build it up around the box, and then
whip in crosses.
Yep, and it only takes one.
That's exactly what I was meant to mention earlier. You know, you keep testing Goldsworthy, but it's not necessarily about the good plays he makes. It's about the one he doesn't. They get it in the box. Someone goes down, it's going to be another no call.
I don't even think that one. I don't think
didn't
there
see
was
a
even like
defender. Yeah.
that wasn't even like human to human contact. He just like took a dive, not took a dive. He just went down
Maybe
like a blade
tripped
of
on
grass in the wind.
Yeah. Spagar has it now. The Gamecock's going to look to kind of build up another attack. It's Nickerson here. Nutmegs a guy. It's Pinto, but he stays with him. Gets it to Velasquez Lopez. And
One thing the
they'll have to move
Gamecocks,
back.
one thing the Gamecocks have gotten really good at as the season has progressed is this kind of intermediate play, where they're getting it back to guys or playing it kind of in rhythm around the horn. And in the early season, we saw them turn the ball over a lot on stuff like that and struggle. But as I say that,
They do turn the ball over as soon as you say that. But again, they have been a lot better at that kind of short passing, just slow things down and get everybody back set. Marshall has it. Junior St. Juice closes out and denies a cross. A nice play from him. They still have it in the midfield, though. It's Okayoshi with it now. He's originally looking to his right, but just gets it to Sterngard to his left. So they're going to look to enter the box. They sure do. A left-footed cross comes in. Goldsworthy, nice play, takes a deflection off the Gamecocks, and Vistier does come out to catch it, but that one, a dangerous play.
yeah, but a high IQ play by Vistier as the clock will stop with 26 minutes and 20 seconds.
So Goldsworthy, he hit it off his head directly into another Gamecock.
I think they might have clipped, as that. So Goldsworthy was kind of like vertical here or horizontal here, and he headed it. And there was another Gamecock coming here. I think his head might have clipped maybe the shoe or the leg of his teammate. But he's up and moving.
Yeah, it's Cargill. He's up. He looks good. And you know what? A smart, maybe not thankfully that he's okay, but he buys his team a little water break. Can come get a little bit of instruction from Tony Annan if you're on this side. So Bagar and Nickerson come and got a little chat with him. And Gamecocks will.
You go back to the save there by Vistier. That was kind of a busted play, and Vistier was able to get to it right before a Thunder and Herd member. But we're seeing him locked in early.
Yeah, and that's just, again, great awareness from him because, as you say, it's the one mistake that can lead to a goal just like this. And Marshall, again, a team that doesn't get scored on often so far.
Yeah, and for South Carolina is that you really want to avoid that, of course you don't want Marshall to score. But
you
if
want to score first.
If Marshall scores first, after all, the hype of this game and how juiced the team was and energized the crowd was coming into it.
Speaking of juiced, he's just relentless pursuit over there. He goes down, and he's grabbing his leg. Hopefully he's okay. And Pinto with it now. The Gamecocks looking for a stoppage of clock. Nothing doing. So Marshall's going to build this attack as Junior St. Just is still down all the way over.
And the clock will stop with 25 minutes, 23 seconds to go. They have the training staff, I think, coming out or they have an official coming over to Junior St. Just.
And they're waving on the training staff as well. He is still down and clearly in some pain. And
I think his foot just got caught in the grass. Looking at it, he was kind of he was striding very long, and as he planted, he just went down. He might have gotten tangled up with somebody, but.
You hate to see that.
Yeah.
That stinks, and especially with a guy, it doesn't matter who gets injured. Nobody wants to see it no matter what, but a guy like Junior St. Just would be a big loss for South Carolina.
Absolutely. But, for the Gamecocks, you're about 20 minutes, into this half. You like what you've seen. Maybe you wish you've generated a chance or two more lately. It's been a little bit more of Marshall controlling the pace of play, getting the ball into the Gamecock attacking third. But, I think you're liking where you're at. You're in position to be in position, as they like to say. As we're still, St. Just is still down there, both teams just, milling about.
Just going to their respective coaches. It's going to be. There's a Gamecock taking off his warm-up shirt and about to toss on the jersey. We'll let you know who that is here in just a second, because we can't quite see it.
He's walking off.
Just, yeah, he's got
under his own power, but there's a definite limp to it.
Yeah, maybe took a high spike or something like that, but hoping he's okay. It's a great sign to see that he can walk off under his own power. But he is going to.
In for Juiced is going to be, I believe.
It's going to be Ronnie McGraw down there, number 11.
Yep. And so from York, England.
Yep, he tosses away the warm-up vest. And again, Juice comes off to a big hand here at Stone Stadium. 25-23 left in half, number 1. And so far, it's been a lot of back-and-forth action. There comes the crowd.
A fan favorite here for sure. One of the best players on this Gamecock team. One of the most important. And we saw him, he left. He was out of the game a little bit against Clemson. He left with a cramp against North Florida. And, both times South Carolina's defense has taken a pretty massive hit. So we're going to see if they can, as the tide was starting to turn towards Marshall in terms of the pace of play, losing one of your best players, one of your most important pieces in that back end. I'm interested to see how Marshall attacks this.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the key. Is Yannick turns it away. Ethan Ballack with it just outside the box. He shoots and he scores. And just like that, the Gamecocks capitalize. And they lead 1-0 here at Stone Stadium.
Sometimes you use the announcer's jinx for the power of good. This was one of those times, as I mentioned, I was interested to see how Marshall attacked it, and they attacked it by passing the ball right to Ethan Ballack out in front of their own net.
So, an early Gamecock goal.
And this is exactly the start I think you wanted for South Carolina in this one.
And what a finish from Ballack there, this time with the right foot. We've seen him he scored a couple left-footed goals, a couple right-footed goals, so don't know if it's fair to say he has a weak foot, but with his 5th goal of the season there, just a horrible pass from the Marshall goalie. That was Yannick, who just kind of passed it not necessarily to anyone.
Yeah,
but when you just pass it into no one, Ethan Ballack jumped on it, stripped it from a defender, and just a cool finish from him. And the Gamecocks get that early lead, and how huge is that right after you lose one of your key defensive players?
I mean, that's the juice. The juice infusion you kind of need in a moment like that. And, that's something that can transfer over to the rest of the team, including the guys on the bench ready to come in. And so for South Carolina, they're already looking shot out of a cannon.
They sure are. Ballack, it's him and the new man, McGraw, over there on this right wing. Marshall does have possession, but McGraw relentlessly pursuing the freshman, playing with a lot of energy here, and what a time to prove yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. A big-time conference matchup against a top 10 opponent. Spencer, when was the last time South Carolina beat a top 10 opponent?
I'm not quite sure.
I know. I'm usually the one with the factoids and whatnot, but it's been a interesting week.
Actually, I was going to say I don't know that, but, it took me a second to register. I do know that. The last time was UCF last year in the Sun Belt Conference tournament.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot they won that game. Normally when we're talking about Gamecock success against ranked teams, it's ties.
They do love a draw. The Gamecocks, there was a foul called there against Marshall, and William Nielsen took kind of a big spill, but he's okay. Good defense there from Marshall. Forced it off Nickerson. They want to throw in their own end, so the Gamecocks likely to press it heavily. But, again, 1-0 Carolina. 23:48 left to play.
And the fans are coming alive with their little sticks, I suppose.
We got to learn a name for that.
I'm going to look it up.
we have technology, folks.
We sure do. I'll keep you updated with the game. You do the important research.
Yeah, you're the play-by-play guy. This is your job.
That's right. Marshall kind of just passing it around back right now, trying to free up a little bit of space. McGraw's in pursuit on that far side touchline. Nielsen, he's been a guy that, usually we see him played in defense. This time he's played as a midfielder mostly today, and he has been excellent at intercepting passes and getting things moving forward for the Gamecocks. Marshall has it now in the attacking third, if you will. Nice little chop pass over. So they're going to try and whip in across.
No, it's not the Vuvuzela. We know what that is.
Yeah, that's more of a horn. They get it in the box now. It's fired off. Goldsworthy deflects it back. They'll look to work it back in. Again, can't get a number on that guy.
No, God, no. It's impossible to read,
DeSantos with it now. He tries to whip in across to Sandy Kong. Wisely picked out by the Gamecocks. But again, it's Pinto with it now on this near side. He gets it over to Okayoshi. A nice ball played into Pinto. He's got it in the box. Cross in. Bigard deflects it. It's shot, and it's scored.
A
spinning,
What a finish there.
This is a horrible time for me to tell you that, I think they're just called noisemakers. But on the goal for Marshall, that's just how they've scored goals this season. They've mucked it up in front. They've packed the box. They've played very sound. They've gotten that one pass. And then it's just a flurry of chances from then on onwards. South Carolina wasn't able to clear it or get Vistier to make a clean save on it. And a spinning,
Great left-footed finish there from
left
Marshall.
foot shot, with the momentum of the spin, and he just rifled it past Vistier. There was nothing he could do about that. He'd already made like 2 saves already, or was blocked out front.
He had made, one was cleared away. I don't think he actually made a save there. It was number 7, the goal scorer, Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, with his second goal of the season. A great left-footed effort into the bottom left corner, just beat Vistier. But again, that's a tough save. You're asking your goalie to make there. And it was Bagar who cut out an interception, just couldn't keep it with him cleanly. And then dos Santos just tucked it away.
Yeah, that's in these big games for South Carolina so far this season. That's been kind of the storyline, is that you have, your big triumphant moment, and then it is not very long-lived.
Yeah, here's Bagar with it now. He passes it back. And, for South Carolina, again, I feel like you can say you played that pretty well. As a through ball from Nielsen played in. Down goes not Myring. Velasquez Lopez, no call, though, so Marshall will take the ball over, pass it back to their keeper. That's Yannick. He plays it all the way down the field, I think, just to buy some space. Goldsworthy, is going to get it to Vistier. And the Gamecocks are going to look to just build up another attack. They, I think, have looked like the more sure-handed team so far, sure-footed, if you will. Nielsen has it on the near touchline, just plays it out. Marshall will have a throw-in. Bit of contention there as to who actually kicked the ball out.
I could not tell. I was going to try and provide some sound insight, but truthfully. Yeah, but also something we've seen a lot in these Gamecock games. We've seen goals scored within a decent amount of time of each other.
That's right.
At least 3 minutes is the time in between goals for South Carolina. Marshall here today, that almost descended to a train wreck of Spartanburg, Southern draw. But it's been 1-1, and it's been
Offside flag goes up there. Sandy Kong just past his line. JP.
Yeah, no, but for the Gamecocks, kind of getting the ball out of your own zone there is pivotal. But, we've seen this where it's scoreless first 20 minutes or so, and then 2 goals, it's 1-1. And, hey, I'm going to try and use my power for good again, but if I acknowledge it, it's probably not going to work. We're probably looking at a 1-1 game at the half, just based off the historic precedent.
Down goes Ballack, but he actually gets back up, somehow still wins the ball. Very impressive in physical play. He plays it forward to Nielsen, just outside the 18-yard box. Myring now is going to control it on the goal line. He's going to try and make a move, maybe whipping across. Sandy Kong just dispossesses him. What defensive play from the forward there. The Gamecocks still looking to apply pressure. It's Pinto with it now. Marshall's got to get out of the box, and the Gamecocks are just going to try and apply that trap. Velasquez Lopez. Wow, what a play there from the Thundering Herd to escape.
Yeah, this is why this program has made the tournament every year since 2019. But, it's just, the discipline defensively is something, South Carolina, even Clemson wasn't pulling it off to this regard.
We do have a Thundering Herd player down, and not exactly sure what happened, but clock will stop at 19:12 left to go in the first half. We're all knotted up at 1. And, something to note, I think the Gamecocks, I don't think you can be too mad about allowing that goal to Marshall. Again, I feel like you did a lot of good things.
That's just a tough break.
It's a tough break, and, that happens. Just maybe didn't get as good of a clearance as you had wanted. But, dos Santos, got to give a lot of credit to him because that was a great finish.
It was. I mean, it was kind of like it just.
He had the ball completely turned around and just whipped a shot.
And everything parted in front of them, and it was just a perfect set of circumstances.
It
really
was.
Just, there's so little they could have done to the point where it's like, well, dang,
Yeah, and, we're going to try and get this light on here. Here we go.
Okay.
How about it?
There was a chance that the fan turned on and turned into like an evil Beyblade.
I tell you what, it could have wrecked us all, but we are good.
Our good technological boy, Micah, would have had to take over the broadcast there. Then you would have heard a lot about Sidney Crosby.
Well,
and Paul Skeens, I bet.
A noted Pittsburgh enjoyer. As Marshall player is up and standing again, it's going to be hard for us to get a number for you right now. we're going to see exactly who that is. But what I was going to mention for the Gamecocks, it feels like you've got to keep applying that pressure. You saw Yannick, the goalie, make a huge mistake for the Thundering Herd. So if you're South Carolina, send the ball down, really crowd around that box, and make the defense make those good moves. We saw them successfully do it, but we've seen them unsuccessfully do it. So I think that's what you got to do.
Yeah, for South Carolina needs to get back to some of those, like, they work it down to the right wing. That's where you're missing St. Just, the leg of St. Just. He was able to pull off the passes where you're kind of going from one corner of the field back to, this kind of left midfield area. But, it's where you miss that. And it's mostly just going to be how do you recover for South Carolina from losing that ability? How does that affect your offensive philosophy and how you're going to attack a very stout and disciplined Marshall defense? That's really not going to give you anything.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out who exactly is coming on for Marshall, but right now it's quite undecipherable. We don't have word up here yet. We'll let you know as soon as we do, but they're still talking things out. And
that's the number one thing that happens in soccer I've learned. It's talking.
They love a chat.
Yep, and as Spencer drinks his water, I'll let you know that the Atlanta Braves suck. That's the update, folks. I don't like baseball, but that's why we're here talking about soccer.
That's right, and we finally got a number in that break. So, one bad thing happens, one good thing happens. It's Alex Bamford coming in defensively for the Herd.
One significantly more bad thing we're hearing. I'm just kidding.
Yep, well, we will see. But South Carolina
we do like soccer. He loves soccer.
Love good soccer. We've got a huge weekend in the Premier League for all those that care. Man City plays Arsenal on Sunday, and arguably that's kind of the two teams really in the big Premier League title race as of right now. Bagar slips and falls on the near side touchline, and miraculously wins the ball from the ground. They're gonna
gauging the South Carolina reaction. I think we're going to get a throw-in from Bagar.
It was an indirect free kick there because the referee had played the advantage. We couldn't tell it was a foul because there was no hand up, really. It's a long ball. Bagar plays it in. Meyring's through on goal. It's him. And it's a huge save from Yannick there. One-on-one, Meyring was through.
Well, Meyring just kind of, kicked it straight. He went down before Meyring kicked it, and Meyring didn't really change his trajectory and just kind of kicked it straight into his chest.
Yeah, I think Meyring took a little too long there before firing a shot. He got a little too close to Yannick.
Well, his strides were so long down the field after he kind of broke free that as he kind of got closer to the net before he was really ready, he tried to stutter step, and that's when Marshall's goalkeeper was able to just kind of batten down the hatches and snuff it out.
Huge save for Yannick, a big redemption play for him, I'd say. But South Carolina is still with the corner. It's Velasquez Lopez out there on that far side.
Officially, I think we can decree him the corner man for this team.
Definitely, especially when, he's the big right foot of this team. Kowalski gets his head to it, goes down in the box. South Carolina's still with it. It's Nielsen. He plays it over to Kowalski. A great kind of diving effort to keep that. Marshall wins it. That might be a card there. Kowalski definitely cleated Bamford there. No card. A little surprise there. That one definitely a foul, but Marshall will win a free kick. Meyring's got to be kicking himself, but what an opportunity for South Carolina. And, you can't live in the past.
No, you can't, but you have to love the process that got you
exactly.
there. It was the aggressive defense, and it was that, the athleticism on display. If South Carolina can keep it in that kind of game, you still feel good about your chances when that final whistle blows.
You certainly do. Marshall plays it all the way across. Okayoshi has to make a sliding play just to get a foot to it. Ethan Ballack is just everywhere right now, and a bit of a flop there from a Thundering Herd player. They're not going to call that. The officials, I think, have been pretty staunch tonight, and I think we like that.
It's been a good.
We like physical play.
They haven't let it get a little too insane, but
Sandy Kong has it now. He's all the way in the box. Bagar in pursuit. He crosses that one in. What a sliding clearance from Goldsworthy. Thought that was going out of play, but he keeps it in. Marshall still with it here on this near side touchline. Sandy Kong with it. He's been a menace on this side. Nickerson gets a foot to it, and Vistier comes to claim. What defense there from the Gamecocks.
And what else can you expect from guys like Andrew Goldsworthy? I mean, that is truly, the play that I think exemplifies what
he
brought
was,
to this
again,
team.
I'll do a little hand demonstration. Excuse me, JP.
Oh.
He went in completely horizontal, got a leg to it, and somehow curled it back into play instead of just kicking it into the trees. So a great job there. Marshall will head it out on the near touchline. It's throw-in for the Gamecocks as almost 30 minutes elapsed so far in the first half. We're all tied up at 1. South Carolina, they've got a lot of momentum. Again, it was a long ball from Bagar. Myring, who got inside that left shoulder of the defense, threw on goal. So, they might look to do that.
Yeah, but with about 15,
later in the game.
15 and a half minutes to go, you might see some guys come off for some rest.
And it's great team play. Myring with it. He flicks it forward to Ballack after going down. There's going to be no foul call there, but great job from South Carolina. Again, another promising attack, and the ball didn't touch the ground there as it traveled between 3 players. Got all the way into the box, and Myring kind of looks like he was taken down there. Not going to lie, JP.
Yeah,
we saw that on replay, and surprised there wasn't a foul call.
Yeah, it was tough. But there are some people, just doing the arm circles, keeping their legs warm for the Gamecocks there over on the sideline. Marshall working around as they're booing the man who took down Myring, number 31, Pinto.
That's Pinto. And rightfully so. Again, I will agree with the fans here.
Bad call.
It looked like Myring was taken down pretty harshly, in fact, right in front of goal. And they're not going to let him forget. Sandy
Every
Kong with it
touch.
now. And, big number 17 on that right wing has been instrumental for the Marshall attack. There's the goal scorer, DeSantos. He gets it back to Sterngard right outside the box. He fires off the crossbar and out of play. What a crack.
It was off the hand of Vistier, I think. Or at least Vistier clipped it with either his forearm or his hand. I saw it kind of ricochet off that into the crossbar and up over. We could see it on the replay.
Yep, let's lock in on that. You're absolutely right. It will be a Marshall corner kick. I couldn't see it initially, so I was going to wait.
I was at I think the perfect angle for it. But it was just a tremendous play by him.
I'll tell you what, though, a heck of a strike there. I think it was Ryan Holmes who just cracked it, the midfielder, from about 25 yards out, stayed on a line, and Vistier had to make a good save. It's a header. Marshall DeSantos got his head to it, but couldn't control it as he was kind of left unmarked. That's very dangerous, and they'll work it back. The Gamecocks applying pressure as it goes all the way back to Yannick, who's about 25 yards out of his own goal, so he'll work it back as to not commit another horrific mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm interested to see how Marshall attacks these final minutes of the first half. Are they okay with this 1-1 score? Or are they going to keep,
Are they going to press a little bit more to try and generate maybe a turnover?
Well, what they've been doing the entire game is on the near side right now, the right winger, Luke Sandy Kong, has kind of been their main guy. Him and Pinto have really been a force to be reckoned with on this
He's been
right
the
side.
Ricky Williams 400 carries of this year.
Well, you know what? It's a good reference. He's seen a lot of touches. He's whipped in a lot of good crosses and had the first main attempt. And Pinto, this is going to be a game-long thing.
So long as these people stay, hopefully.
And 1-1 game, Sunbelt action, number 10 ranked Marshall. Why would you leave right here at Stone Stadium? Again, we're all tied up at 1. 12 and a half to go here in the first 45 of play. Shots fired in and horrifically off target there as that one didn't catch nothing. It was Pablo Simon. Just 15 yards right of goal there. But so, for the Gamecocks,
just a bit outside.
Just a tad. Simon, though, not to bash him too much, he has been an excellent player so far. He scored 2 goals, and, that's the leading goal scorer on this team is 6 guys now tied with 2 goals on the season. So it's not one guy.
It's very much a group effort for this Marshall team, and that's why they've been so successful, I think, because it's not like you're relying on any one guy for everything. It's very much a sum of their parts, and that's what South Carolina is trying to become. They're definitely that, to some degree. To how much of a degree can they succeed at the highest level? We're seeing that right now with their games against Clemson and Marshall.
Absolutely, and if you hear the boos, you can probably know who has the ball. It's Pinto on a throw-in right at the halfway line. The crowd getting into it, wondering when they're going to call a whistle because, JP, you can't just have unlimited time for a throw-in, and he was pushing the boundary there. And it wouldn't surprise me if we see an aggressive slide tackle go his way here sometime
I was just
soon.
thinking that. I was thinking,
of course, safely. But, this.
But also Cam Chancellor, here comes the boom highlight mix. You never know.
You got to think about that. That enters the equation here at some point. As Marshall's going to work it forward. They get it to Pinto. Excuse me, that's not Pinto. It's cut out from Nielsen. Nice job to deny that cross. That was Simone.
Nielsen just very effortlessly, he had the grace of an ice skater there. contorting his body around, whipping his back leg to just send that one out of play.
Okayoshi has it at the back. He gets it over to Bamford. He's the defender that was substituted on for an injured, I don't know if you say herdsman, thundering herd player.
Yeah, because like their mascot is a bison.
It's a cool mascot. I
It's
got to give
awesome.
him that. And again, Marshall did just
anytime a
play the ball out of play, so it's going to be a goal kick just to keep the viewers informed while we talk about
Absolutely.
bison.
No, that's true. But any program that has a bison mascot is going to get points for me. Howard, North Dakota State, the team Bucknell. I love. They were really good at men's basketball a long time ago. I guess at this point we're old, man.
Realization sets in. Goldsworthy has it, and it's Marshall applying the press here as he sends that one on top of the soccer building. That ball is not coming back today.
I'm going to keep an eye on that, folks. I'm just going to see if it stays. I don't know how they would get it.
Yeah, there might be a ladder on the backside, but
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
That will be a Marshall throw-in.
Actually, that's a lie. I would love to be that guy because then I could just throw the ball off the roof
also,
onto
that'd
the
be
field.
a great view. I mean,
Dude, you sit up there, you just dangle your feet.
Yeah, probably get a little breeze going. It's the sun goes down, and
Have a nice
again,
glass of
darkness
sweet
is
tea.
set in, and it is at least thankfully a little bit cooler here, not just for us, but for the players. So I'm sure they'll like that the sun sets a little earlier as we get closer and closer to fall. 9 minutes left. Again, all tied up at 1. Marshall will play in a long through ball down to Sandy Kong on this right wing. It's been their MO. Flag stays down, so he was onside. He'll play it back to Pinto. Here come the boos.
Get him.
That's
what the slide tackle is talking.
It's going to be another long shot just over top of the goal. Not too much of a threat there. But again, Marshall, surprised they're not working it into the box a little bit more. There was
That's
the
where
one
they've
long
gotten their
shot.
success.
Yeah, the one long shot that clipped the bar, and Vistier did make a nice.
They saw how cool that looked, and they're like, we want to do that more.
They are aiming for a top 10 play here, just ripping shots from 25 yards out. Not to say it can't work. But again, the goal that Marshall scored was from about 12, 15 yards out, and they did it by just relentlessly making this Gamecock defense work. When you just fire a shot that's not near the goal, JP, you kind of just give up on your attack, and it just kills all your momentum.
And it transfers possession back over to the opponent. For South Carolina,
it's going to be another offsides call. The Gamecocks have not been great at staying on side tonight. It's going to be Myring, who he's maybe been offsides 3 or 4 times tonight.
but
again,
the aggression is there. That makes you think that as this time, as we hit 8 minutes to play here in the first half,
they're looking to get him in behind.
They're looking to keep the pressure up until the final whistle blows of this first half. And you love to see that for South Carolina. They want to press that advantage. They feel like they have something there. They're just going to keep going at it. It's like when you're running 4 verts in NCAA.
That's right. Pinto with it, if you couldn't tell. Sandy Kong with it, takes on Nickerson. Nice interception there from Cargill, but Marshall still with it. Sliding play, Gabe Nickerson. Great job to win that back. Ethan Ballack with it now near side. He's dispossessed, and now it's a dangerous attack for Marshall. Sniffed out beautifully from Cargill. DeSantos was looking to get into the box. He wins it back, though, as Cargill tried to clear it, but he can't escape the trap. Ballack has it. Looks to get it to Velasquez Lopez, and the Gamecocks just looking for a little bit of air as Marshall has been on the prowl for some time. Nickerson goes down. That's definitely a foul. And who else?
Who else committed it but Pinto?
And wait. Do we have a little card? The official said, come here.
He's like, apologize. Say you're sorry.
He did. Pinto's got a little bandaged hand, so I don't know how well he can handshake, but.
Yeah, but,
No card, though. Important to know.
The slide tackle is speaking to Alejandro Velasquez Lopez like it's the Green Goblin mask.
I tell you what, you don't want to get a red card. They've played, I think, 2 matches in a row with a man down for at least more than 60 minutes, and it's not a trend you want to necessarily keep. As Begara plays a huge free kick all the way over to McGraw. Still, the entire length of the pitch, still too much on it, so it will go out of play for a Marshall throw in. They've got it now, but now the Gamecocks at least have flipped the field, if you will. They get to be the ones applying the pressure. You got to think they're trying to cut out the passing lanes to Pinto and Sandy Kong on the right wing because that's where the dangers come. Nielsen in pursuit. Marshall with it. They turn it over to Velasquez Lopez. He's got a man in the box. It's cut out. Pinto, great defensive play there, and now Marshall has it, looking to buy themselves some space, and they'll do just that. It's a through ball. Great ball in. Horrible touch, though, from the Thundering Herd player, and it is turned away. Kowalski with it. It was deflected, and it goes out of play. Going to be a goal kick, I do believe. So it looked a little dangerous there. As
It did indeed. We got about 5:40 left here in the first half. And for South Carolina, avoiding a dangerous situation like that and to just get possession back.
And it wasn't bad play. Kowalski just slipped, and there's been a lot of that so far in this game. And, he just left his feet. And if that ball had a little less pace on it, Marshall would have been in through on goal. And, you never want to put your goalie in a one-on-one situation. We saw it earlier for the Gamecocks. Yannick had to make a huge save. Otherwise, they'd be leading this 2-1. Vistier feels the pressure, gets it down to Velasquez Lopez, being held pretty closely. No foul call. Pinto with it. Nickerson blocked it, but it's going to be a throw-in. Marshall. And it looks like we might be jawing Pinto a little bit, which I think is extremely valid.
Yep.
He's earned that one. Hey, never forget what they did to my boy.
It's true.
Took down Myring right outside the box. No penalty call is,
That's what
well,
the flags
outside
are.
the box wouldn't be a penalty call. But again, it probably should have been a little bit of a whistle blow, but Gamecocks can't live in the past. You got under 5 now, all tied up at 1 here. And Ballack now applying the pressure. Him and Myring looking to win the ball back, and the Gamecocks, again, have had not a lot of possession, I would say, in the last 15 minutes. Marshall is kind of just trying to take –
It's like I'm watching Navy football.
yeah, they have just taken the air out of the ball, if you will, and just – but they've done a good job of working their attack forward. But for the Gamecocks, other than some, sudden burst, they have not had possession for a decent amount of time in quite a while. On the left wing now, Marshall cuts in. Got an overlapping run out there, but he doesn't see it. Works it out there now, but McGraw sniffs it out. Now he's going. There's a slide tackle gone wrong. It's a foul call. McGraw walks back over to him. Might have a card here.
Lots of,
No
the
cards.
jawing.
The cards have stayed in the pocket so far
They
tonight,
well, I
JP.
think they know, hey, it's conference play. It's two very good teams, teams that, they deserve to, look good, feel good, play good. Get a little, hey, John's a part of the game, man. It's just,
not for the jawing. I was going to say that
I'm just
tackle
saying,
on
like,
McGraw looked a
the
little rough.
physicality, the jawing, like it's all in the spirit of the great Sun Belt Conference.
It is, got to give the officials credit. They're calling a very uniform game right now, which is all you ask. As long as everything's fair between both teams, and it sure is so far tonight. Vistier serves it up to Ballack in the midfield. He's tracked down, and foul will be called on that one. Right now, bodies have just been hitting the ground.
Pinto has a little bit of a syndrome to him where every time something bad happens, Marshall goes like this. And that is just perhaps the most infuriating thing I've ever seen in my life. But it's very typical, I would say, for soccer. But it just, it should fuel the Gamecocks more.
It should, and another thing that should fuel them more after DeSanto scored that goal, taunting the crowd here. And JP, it wouldn't surprise me if we find out later in the week they've got 6,000 strong here at Stone Stadium.
Absolutely.
The long ball just goes out of play. McGraw couldn't quite track it down, but now Marshall have a throw in, and the Gamecocks are going to come forward and try and press here with 2.5 minutes left, all tied up at 1 to end this first half. The throw in comes in.
That's a weird throw because they seemed like they were going to play it lackadaisically.
Pinto with it now, sliding challenge from Nickerson will force Marshall, to throw it in again. But, it kills the ball, allows the Gamecocks to, come forward, get this pressure going. And you got to love it for South Carolina. This is where Marshall have made the mistakes when you just apply relentless pressure. Here it is. Bagar has it now. Nickerson, a great pass there to kind of skip the Marshall defender. The Gamecocks will work it back. Minute 45 left. You got to think, again, in college soccer, it works like a shot clock. You can just hold possession here, work it down. They're going to play a long ball in to Ballack. He holds up play. It goes to Myring. He's got Ballack to his left. Velasquez Lopez on the far side. Ballack in the box now. It's a bad touch. Cleared away from Marshall all the way out onto Whaley Street.
That was just a little bit out in front of, you had Myring, Ballack, Lopez. Both they were all moving kind of in unison. Myring trying to get to Ballack, but it was a little bit just too out in front.
It was, I think, a little too hard.
Ballack,
had a nice – he did a good job to try and control it. Couldn't quite, but again, you force a corner kick, and now a minute on the nose here. All tied up at 1. Got the noisemakers going. We got the term for it. Velasquez Lopez. He sends it into the box. Myring just misses it. It's out in front. Nothing going. Someone goes down in the box. South Carolina player. Marshall will clear it out. South Carolina still has possession. 40 seconds left now. They're going to throw it back to Vistier. JP, they've got one good attack in them, and if they just retain possession, that's what you'd like to see from them. Vistier launches it forward to Sandy Kong. He's taken down. It's going to be a free kick Gamecocks, but again, clock's still running. 30 seconds left. Nickerson knows. Injury timeout. As the Gamecock player stays down, that's going to be William Nielsen. They're calling for the training staff. 27 seconds left.
That's a tough injury at the end of the first half. Of course, you may think it's just I think you hope it's a little bit of gamesmanship to try and get the clock stopped after that free kick was called. But that Nielsen's been a very key part of this team through this hot streak since the tie to the Ospreys when Coach Annan really kind of shifted things around. But he's walking off under his own power. Everything looks pretty good. No limp. Speaking of the injuries, Junior St. Juice had the Gatorade towel draped around him. Now he has the blue
training vest on.
Yeah, and he's just been sitting down the whole time. People have came up and patted him on the shoulders, and so it's not, from my rudimentary observations, it does not look good.
Yeah,
for him coming back in this one at least.
Yeah, I think you're right. Nielsen comes off. Velasquez Lopez, he's on the kick. Whistle blows. And the Gamecocks are going to take it. He comes up. He's going to strike it on goal. Just curls above the bar. I like that attempt there from Velasquez Lopez. We've seen him score from distance before. Just a little bit too much on that one.
Yep, and that's virtually going to do it here for the first half. It's 15 seconds.
They'll just play it around back here. Yannick's got it. He's gonna just hold it.
A good first half, I think, for the Gamecocks, truthfully.
You know what? I think it was a good first half for the Gamecocks, but I tell you what, it was a good first half of soccer.
It was indeed. Marshall weathered the initial storm, and I really liked what I saw from both teams. If Junior St. Juice is out for the entire second half, I think you feel a lot better about Marshall's chances, especially as they kind of dominated the pace of play in the second half of the first. And so, not many subs for either team. And Marshall didn't sub once, I don't think,
except for the
injury. South Carolina didn't either beyond their two injuries. So I'm interested to see what happens.
I think you're absolutely right, but I think, we talk about St. Juice maybe not coming back to this one. You got to give a huge shout out to Ronnie McGraw on that right wing. He did a good job holding his own. The freshman comes in for one of the more veteran players on the South Carolina team. Does a great job standing up to the pressure. And for South Carolina, you go into the half even, and it's a 0-0 game. It's actually 1-1, of course, but you got that 0-0 mentality. That you've got to come out. Any goal can win it. They scored the first goal in the first half. We're just unable to keep the Thundering Herd off. We'll see if they can hold them scoreless in the second half and look to get the first win in the Sun Belt season. We'll be right back after the break. And we're back here at Stone Stadium. Big gasp there from JP. That's how you know we're back in action. We're all tied
Yeah,
up
sorry.
at
I
one.
was going to say something, and then I realized it's not my job. I was like,
That's him. He's the artist. I am just I'm like a,
I'm the lead speaker for today.
I don't know. I'm trying to. That analogy went off the rails quicker than.
Painting is kind of a solo sport,
Yeah, I'm like his stencil or whatever, the little thing you use.
My
and you
easel.
mix-
My easel.
You mix up
There
all
go.
you mix up all the paints on.
Maybe. Man, hopefully
I lost
not
it
that
there a
many
little
people
bit.
are listening to our arts references. Maybe they'll tune in at perfectly when halftime ends so we can actually do what hopefully we're good at it. We're definitely better at talking about soccer than we are about art. But, no surprises at the halftime, stat sheet here. Marshall 65% possession, and that became extremely evident in the second half of the first half, if you will. The last 20 minutes since Marshall evened it up, I mean, it seemed like they had the ball and a lot of control. The Gamecocks had some brief moments where it looked, they had the one-on-one Myring against Yannick. That really felt like their best opportunities as both teams are going to kind of huddle up here, get back out on the pitch. Now it's Gamecocks going left to right, Marshall going right to left.
And St. Jude's still there on the bench, shaking his head with that little blue vest on. So I think
By
it's
the
safe.
end of his night.
I think it's safe to say we've seen the last of him. But then for Nielsen, I believe.
Oh, he's out there. Yep, dead center. And that's big for the Gamecocks. Again, I don't think he was actually injured when he went down at the end of that
No, I
first
do
half.
believe that was a bit of gamemanship, my friend.
Yeah, he definitely, and wisely so. I mean, either team would have done that. You act like you just got, pulverized by a massive weapon of mass destruction, and you get up, walk off under your own power, and stop the clock for a free kick. And again, it would have could have been a big difference maker there. And
It's worth the attempt.
oh yeah, 100%. Annan is gonna preach that to his guys every time. And again, we'll go back to his pregame interview. What does it take to beat Marshall, JP?
Goals.
Goals.
It takes goals.
It takes goals.
They got
and
one.
They did get
You
one.
need another.
You
As
are
a fly has entered the press box. We must enact the.
Yeah, we'll slide tackle the fly
I
up
was
here
going to say
for
the
you.
Iron Dome. But
Okay, well, there you go. The half's underway. The Gamecocks are going to pass it back and forth, and Bagar is going to launch a long ball into Myring, who just about gets around Bamford. And that's how you start a half right there, is now it's going to be a throw-in to the Gamecocks. Nickerson has it on that far touch line, the left winger for this team, if you will.
Yeah, and now they're going to have. I'm interested to see, because after you get in the locker room at halftime, you get to talk strategy. If St. Just is out and nobody knows it better than the team itself, how have they adjusted their offense philosophy? How they're going to attack this? Because St. Just is such a big part of how they kind of initiate attacks in the attacking third.
And, we saw as Goldsworthy's going to take the throw in because in an attacking position, he hurls one into the box. Ballack almost gets his head to it. Nickerson does on the outside of the box. Velasquez Lopez sends it in. Marshall's going to run it down. But on the other side, the Gamecock has it. They call a foul there. And, for all the whistles to have not been called in the first half, they're a bit surprised that one does get called. It's going to be called on Kowalski. No card, though. As Marshall now has it, just passing it about. But again, I think you're right. And we saw them in the first half after St. Just went out. They really focused on the left side. It was Bagar, Nickerson, and working in with the midfielders there to get the ball forward. But now, St. Just still out. Might see more of the same. Nickerson has it. Great header to keep possession there. It comes all the way back to Goldsworthy. He gets it back to Vistier after some thundering herd pressure. Vistier plays it long to Pinto. Excuse me, not Pinto. It's 21 instead of 31. It's going to be a handball in the Gamecocks. Just clipped a little arm there, so it's going to be a free kick for Marshall. They take it quick right at the midfield circle. Again, 2 minutes in, nothing doing.
I know. And this is, going into this game, I foolishly thought, I was like, man, maybe Marshall, nothing's jumping out at me that's super impressive. And then I realized why that is. Because they play the way they do.
They sure do.
It's very conducive to winning. But they'll get you. They'll jump at you. A friend of mine who's very plugged into the men's soccer scene, he was like, I was talking to him about it, and he was like, you think that. Wait for the devil magic. And, we're certainly seeing something.
Yeah, and again, after the first 20 minutes of that first half, right after we saw the first 2 goals, one for each team, whole lot of just passing back and forth, and Marshall just dominating the possession game. And again, it clearly works for them as they play a through ball into Sandy Kong. Gamecocks do a good job. A slide tackle breaks it up, and Ethan Ballack just plays it long. Myring's in pursuit and going to make Bamford make a decision there. He goes to ground, plays it back to the goalie. It's going to be a booming kick to the midfield. DeSantos controls it.
It reverberated all the way up in here, folks.
He gets it to Sandy Kong. Do we see an offside flag?
No, I do not.
We don't. It was mighty close there as
I think
Sandy
it's a
Kong.
good no call.
I think so too. It was just, from our angle, we're not at the direct line. Marshall with it right outside the box. Plays it over to Pinto. He goes for a sliding attempt. Goldsworthy does a good job to cut out the pass. Marshall still with it on the far side. They'll say he strays off sides. A bit dangerous there.
Yeah, so Pinto went for a little bit of a sliding kick, and it seemed like, all right, that's the end of it. But then a Marshall player came out of nowhere from the side, knocked it over to a man who had a wide open goal, and he just whiffed.
Yeah, it
violently.
Took a lot of deflections there off Goldsworthy and then to another Marshall player. And again, a big miss there for Marshall. And, bit fortunate for South Carolina. And to note, Bryce Griffith is in the game up front now. He usually opts for those green cleats. That's kind of how you know he's in the game. He doesn't have those on today, and not quite sure who exactly he came out for, JP.
Well, you'll look into it. Could it be Myring?
Yeah, Myring's still in. That's usually his go-to man as Vistier plays a long ball. Myring has it all the way in the box, so a nice bit of tactics there. Tries a nice spin move. He's working it down the touchline. We're going for a goal kick, and, good play, though. I think that was mighty promising, and we'll see kind of where Griffith slots in, as right now he's up front. JP, I'm just straining my eyes trying to see who he replaced.
Yeah, I'm...
It's not Ballack. It's not Myring. There's Nielsen, Velasquez, Lopez. I
Could
believe
it be
it's going to be Cargill. Yep.
That
Took us a minute. Nielsen cuts it out. He's in the box. Left-footed shot saved by Yannick. What a save. It was a horrible pass from him that almost let the Gamecocks take a goal lead here. Great play from Nielsen. Heads up there to intercept the pass. And Yannick's got to be much more careful. But now it's Marshall out on the attack. Sandy Kong in on his left. He's in the box now. Sliding tackle. Cuts out the cross, but it is going to go out for a corner kick. Excuse me, a goal kick. It looked like that was out on South Carolina. But
No, yeah, I was just as shocked. But,
man, what an opportunity for South Carolina. My mind is still racing on that one, but
that's two
great
one-on-one opportunities that Yannick has won. That time, it was his horrible pass. I mean, we're not dogging on him. It's objectively just a bad pass when you turn it over inside your own 18-yard box. You're putting yourself in a hole, but, he did a great job getting out of it. Myring has it here on the near touchline. It's out on Sandy Kong. Throw in South Carolina.
we've already 6 minutes in, and speaking of quick, that was a quick throw-in for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, tried to get kind of a through ball throw in there to Nickerson. I really like the aggressiveness and the creative attempt. It was cut out. Pinto with it on that far side, and even though you can barely tell who he is, they know to boo when they see that bandaged right arm.
Yeah, that's an easier indicator than the numbers on the back of the jersey.
Yeah, Nielsen, great play in midfield, but he is stripped. Looks to be a shot. It's faked into the box. DeSantos just deflected over the top of the goal. Goldsworthy, I mean, there's a reason he was Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Week just a few weeks ago.
Absolutely. That was a great play by him. We've seen that time in, time out. A good setup by Marshall. I like what they did there. Getting off the attack quickly, following the breakup. And that ability to get out and run, in short bursts. South Carolina's looking to kind of stretch that over the entire game. But right now, Marshall is dominating the pace of play after South Carolina was making them play Gamecock style of soccer.
The first 25 minutes.
Yep.
But again, since then, Marshall, possession dominant. As they whip in across, Gamecocks headed away. But again, I couldn't tell who had that excellent fake pass for Marshall because their jersey numbers are just so horrid. You really, they're black on black, so, there's just kind of no shot.
I can't believe they're allowed to wear that.
It is really surprising. The numbers are outlined in white, but it's really hard to make out who did that. But it was a great fake pass that led to that shot attempt. And if it wasn't for the left leg of Andrew Goldsworthy, they could have a 1-goal lead in this one.
You know what's even worse than that? That
What's
there's,
that?
under the numbers is a script Marshall in dark green, and you just cannot read that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really pretty indecipherable, you know, as they're passing it
That's
around the
horrible.
back right now. Pinto with it again. Oh, and Bigar over pursues there. They're going to run in behind. It's going to be a free cross here for Marshall. They work it into the box. The right foot, it's cut out, just kind of floating about, cleared away from the Gamecocks. A nice job there as that ball just kind of loomed in the box, waiting for a Marshall foot to strike. But nothing came of it. Now with it on this near side, that's Godar. He switches, goes to that far side. That's that right wing they've worked so much. Bigar in defense on the edge of the box. It's whipped in just across the face of goal. Goes out of play, and that ball
From our angle, we had no clue whether that was going to go wide or in. I mean,
could have been a goal, could have been 20 yards out, and it's a really tough angle for us. But good clearance from the Gamecocks there, but it will go out for a Marshall throw-in. Going to be a corner. It was hard to see, but the ball is down on the spot all the way out there.
yeah, we're fighting through like chain link.
Yeah,
to see that
chain link,
corner.
windows, little slats, things. So, hey, we do our best, but that's why you see us kind of like crouch down or
We
get on the
assume
tippy
all
toes
sorts
here.
of wacky positions
That's
during
right.
this broadcast.
Hey, we work for this. Swung in, Vistier punches it. Sandy Kong with it, deflected wide. Another corner kick, but again, that was a dangerous one for Vistier. You see him go up with that one hand.
Try to bat it down. I mean, it's the opposite of football. Football, you want to bat it down, but in soccer, you're going to want to catch that firmly with two hands.
You either want to catch it with two hands or really, if you got
Make
a
an
punch
effort.
to it, you can definitely, we see the goalie punch a lot, but Vistier didn't get near enough on it, so it just kind of popped up, and luckily didn't end up in the back of the net. Another corner. This one's whipped in. Backside, Sandy Kong to it, and great save from Vistier. A two-handed just slap.
Volleyball.
Yeah.
He set that one up above the goal. I mean, that was almost a perfectly placed shot, but Vistier with maybe his save of the season.
Yeah, I think you would be right, at least that we've seen. I mean, that
Other than
one,
the penalty kick against Clemson, but we ignore what happened directly after that.
yeah, that one extremely, extremely dangerous. Just kind of went over the heads of everybody. Sandy Kong was just sitting there back post. It's Christmas Day. A ball lands in his lap. As they're doing a great job of crowding the keeper. Vistier comes out of a mass of bodies to get to it. And finally, Marshall with an errant shot. And the Gamecocks win a goal kick. That's excellent defending, JP, and the crowd rallying behind them. And a lot of the fans have stuck around here for this second half.
That they have, and that's the power of a great start to the season, but also playing in a conference like the Sun Belt where you're getting these marquee matchups first night in conference play.
Yeah, and again, the Sun Belt, we've talked about it, so far to start the season. We're going to keep talking about it. Goldsworthy plays in the goal kick, Vistier now with it. But the Sun Belt is an excellent conference, especially in men's soccer. So we're going to, of course, we'll talk about that. They hold the #1 team in the country right now, also from West Virginia, but it's the Mountaineers, not the Thundering Herd.
Actually, they dropped at Stanford now.
I'm a fool.
For some reason, it updates at weird times.
Yeah, the poll, AP polls drop on Monday, So this one, Sunday, right? It's Sunday.
Yeah,
I'm
for
a liar.
for football it's Sunday. For basketball it's Monday.
A great play there from McGraw to try and send Griffith through on goal, but Okayoshi, excellent job in defense there, just winning the foot race.
As down goes Nickerson.
So the header goes out of play. It's going to be a Marshall throw-in. He went flying there, but apparently to no contact. And yeah, you're right. So that was Stanford, the new #1 team in the country. I was thinking of last week's poll. That's my bad. But the Sun Belt, still holding a ton of top 25 spots. South Carolina, a team outside looking in, but very close to breaking in. They received 4 votes. So again, that's quite good. And again, their first time since 2016 even receiving votes. So big shout out to Coach Hannon and this year's team really turning things around in his 4th year. 33 minutes left in half number 2. We're all tied up at 1. Marshall has it in the midfield, working it about. It's Godar now on this near side touchline. He's got Simone, and they'll do a switch pass all the way over to Pinto. Here come the boos. He gets it forward to a midfielder, unknown. Godar with it now outside the box. He dribbles forward. He's got someone to his left in the box. He whips in a right-footed cross. Not enough on it. Shot fired. Goal of Marshall. What a rip there from a Thundering Herd midfielder. that was an excellent strike. I mean, that was a volley off the missed header and just gunned it past Viztier. Unbelievable.
I did not
I just
fling.
heard a mangle of bodies over here. I don't know what happened.
I did not fling my headset off. I just I dropped my head after that happened. It just came off. My headset came off, not my head.
Yeah, I don't know what my mic peaked big time there. Not
Oh, it
sure.
did. No, that kind of startled me. I'm peeking a little bit too. Sorry, folks. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, it's it's a little tough because we turn ourselves down and then you can't hear us. But I mean,
Hopefully, you're not hearing me kind of digest my fiber one bar. I got a little. Sorry, we get a little hungry up here. It's been a long day for us. We work 9 to undefineds.
that's very true. Senior semester students and for any J school grads, you know what that means. Still a little unsure on the goal scorer there. But
yeah, no, that's true.
Because
He
we
ripped it.
can't see a number. I mean,
No.
we really can't. Whoever hit it. It was Alex Scherengard. Thank you to our friends in the press box announcing that one. And, the team's leading points leader, strikes again. He's been excellent for this team, the Thundering Herd, and that was a right foot. JP, you don't draw up shots better than that. I mean, from outside the box, low-driven volley past Viztier, and again, that's not much a goalie can do there. That's just a wonderful goal.
Marshall and South Carolina have had that same situation happen. Although South Carolina was a lot closer to the goal, you had the goalkeeper right here with a shorter window to his left. South Carolina tried to work it past him in that short window near side instead of trying to work it far side to that other upright. And that's what Marshall did. Marshall worked it to the upright, and they got it past Viztier. There's nothing he could do. But South Carolina just tried to go near side into a much tighter window, and they were unsuccessful with it. And that's why they only have one goal. Marshall has 2.
Yeah, I mean, again, not much South Carolina's defense could do, I don't think, on that one. Just a heck of a strike. And, you got to just keep your heads up, keep plugging away. But right now, Marshall, again, just dictating the pace of play. And South Carolina really can't seem to break through right now. They've, not to say they haven't had their opportunities. And I think, that's been the.
I think we might see a yellow card on Ethan Ballack.
Nah, it doesn't look like it.
No, but it was a little bit of like a run through, and the ref paused and reached for something, and I about near fell out of the press box, but I'm glad it wasn't one.
Yeah, and 30 minutes left, 2-1. Marshall have the lead here. And South Carolina looking to not suffer their first loss of the season. They've been undefeated so far, and they've been excellent. Sandy Kong plays that one out of bounds. McGraw trying to take a quick throw in. He gets it in Nielsen. I think you got to love that aggressive play from the freshman. Velasquez Lopez plays it through to McGraw. How about this kid replacing St. Just? He gets it into the box. Myring has it. Whips in a left-footed shot. Blocked by a Marshall defender. Excellent play there. Velasquez Lopez tries to keep it in. Just can't. Marshall throwing on the far side, but finally something promising from South Carolina here in the second.
And, hey, that's how you respond to adversity like that. That was a great opportunity for South Carolina. It was generated through a repeatable process. And in a game like this against a great team, that's what you love to see. As they kind of flash that up there, Marshall has scored the last 2 goals in this game. If you're just now joining us, it is 2-1 Marshall. It was 1-1 at the first half. We have a penalty coming up to Marshall.
It's because he took too long on the throw-in, I believe,
Finally.
JP. And Pinto's been doing that all game. It's finally called. In South Carolina, anything called on him, they are going to just erupt.
I had my nose too deep in the stats to see what happened there.
Yeah, me, me too.
South Carolina scored with 20 minutes to go in the first half, and Marshall scored, a little bit after that. And
Yeah, it was a goal 20th minute from Ethan Ballack, goal in the 23rd minute. South Carolina has possession here. Marshall does a good job to clear it away, but South Carolina going to look to work it back in. Goldsworthy heads it to his right. He's got Kowalski who's going to launch it forward to Ballack. Over the head of Holmes, heads up play. He's got Velasquez Lopez to his left. And South Carolina, he moves right from outside the box, fires a right-footed shot in. It's blocked in the 18-yard box. Sandy Kong with it now, doing some dribbling to try and escape the pressure. Godar with it now. He looks back. He's got Sandy Kong. They're doing a 1-2 game. McGraw just unnecessary on the push there. Sandy Kong goes after him, though. And we're going to have some cards here, no doubt about it. There's an injury timeout as Teo Godar goes down. Yellow card to Sandy Kong, yellow card to Ronnie McGraw. You'll take an even trade-off.
And that's been
the kid from
brewing
England's
for
hot.
a while. That's been brewing for a while. We've kind of seen, like, on the
Waiting for a
tail end of
tipping
some
point.
plays, Kong and McGraw have both kind of, brushed up against each other, and maybe a little bit of physical, like body checking right then and there or something like that. McGraw's actually kind of looking, he's adjusting his tights. I think he's just trying to get his mind right.
Well, I tell you what, I love the physical play from him. Definitely an unnecessary foul, but, at least you draw a retaliation yellow card. It could be worse, but for South Carolina, great attempt there. You finally have got some juice. It's going to be a free kick. It's taken from Marshall, but it's not a good one. Velasquez Lopez wins it, sends it into Myring. He's in the box, gets it past Yannick. He's past the keeper. A left-footed, and he just misses it. How does Myring not score that one? Clock is stopped as Yannick's down in the goal. 28-20 left, and we couldn't quite see, so maybe not how did Myring not score, but I mean, he was on that far side. It couldn't quite tell how he was positioned, but looked like he just had to tuck that one away.
Alfie Hughes is about to check in for the Gamecocks, as well as number 21, Kieran Karp. So two young guys about to get some
Fresh legs,
some
JP.
burn here. But yeah, with 28 minutes, 20 seconds to go, the Gamecocks need a goal for the equalizer to come away with any points in this conference matchup. And they're going to look to get some fresh legs on there so they maybe can save some of their higher tier guys, maybe for a push towards the very end. But it'll be Hughes.
Well, they don't mind, this rotational system.
I'm surprised we haven't seen more.
Yeah.
Gamecocks usually play a lot of guys, but of course you shorten the bench once you get into conference play and matchups like this.
Bad header from Nickerson there on the goal kick, gives Marshall a throw in right at the midfield. And again, it's going to be Hughes. They will call for the substitution yet. Interesting to see who he takes out. It is going to be Gabe Nickerson, I believe.
Yeah, and that, Nickerson's just been all over. He's been very good, but he's done a lot of running. He needs a little bit of a breather, I think. I think this is a good move. But now, now will Marshall start putting on some new guys, trying to get some fresh legs, because the longer you keep your guys out there, the more the chance you leave it open for South Carolina's fresh legs to take advantage of some tired guys out there.
Absolutely, and again for South Carolina, you've had a lot of chances against Yannick, who has been really good in goal. He's made some costly turnovers, but when it's mattered most, he's really stepped up. So you've got to think you just keep peppering something at him, and hopefully you can equalize here. Marshall has it, kind of in the attacking third. They'll play it back. Sokoyoshi with it. He gets it over to Godar. Forward, they're going to try and play Sandy Kong into the box. They do. Offside flag goes up as Sandy Kong on the shot did just miss, in case you were curious. But it won't matter.
No, and that's I like that call. There's a difference between that and then the offsides they didn't call, and I'm glad they're kind of establishing that.
And that was, that heated matchup. The two players with the yellow card, it was Sandy Kong and McGraw in defense. So I guess McGraw wins this battle, making Sandy Kong go offsides. But again, those two guys, bit of a
mischief
over
between
there.
them.
Absolutely. Vistier launches it towards Myring. He gets ahead to it, nothing doing behind him, but, kind of flips the field again, flips the pitch, if you will, and now it's Yannick in goal. He plays it over to Okayoshi. Over to Godar now, McGraw in pursuit. They play it forward all the way through. Good job, Goldsworthy. As that was Simone who let it go through his legs. Goldsworthy kind of closed his and did a great job to hold that ball up.
And got it over to Cargill.
McGraw with it, back to Cargill. The Englanders coming together. Goldsworthy now at midfield. He gets it over to Bagar. Bagar's got Hughes over there. He just gestured for the ball, and now he's got it on that left wing. Looking to enter the box here. Using some skill moves. We'll see who that goes off of. They'll signal a goal kick, much to the chagrin of Hughes. He thought that went off a Marshall defender. They claimed it went off him. The Thundering Herd get the benefit of the doubt on this one, as we couldn't really see that.
Yeah, we're hitting 25 and a half minutes to play. Clock is not your friend if you're South Carolina. But, plenty of times this season, South Carolina's been on the other end of this, where they're up 2-1, mid to late stages of the second half.
I feel like they're due for a goal to go their way in this kind of situation.
Yeah, and also, as you were saying, they've had some chances here in the last 10 minutes. You've got to get one past Yannick. He's made some incredible saves in one-on-one situations. And, Marshall's done a great job time wasting. They're about to get in a little trouble for it, as, again, the referee had to point to Yannick to actually lay down the ball and start the goal kick. So that was Pinto playing it out of bounds. It's a throw in South Carolina, but they've just got to keep just hammering away, and you got to convert when you get these good opportunities. So far the goalie in red is one, and down goes Hughes. No foul called. Goldsworthy ever secure in the back. And now he's taken down again. There is a good foul call. It looked like the first one would have been a good whistle.
It was accosted in the first one. That was like oh my gosh, all right.
Hey, take a
Factory
sec.
reset. That was so egregious, it would have been called a foul in the 80s NBA.
That's that's not a common thing back then, but I think you're right. That looked to be a sure foul in the first one. The second one definitely was. Marshall passing it around back. The Gamecocks looking to apply that pressure. And Myring is really good at that. This one goes off Nielsen all the way back to Yannick. See what he does with it. He's just going to hold the ball. We're under 25. Marshall, a 2-1 lead. He gets it over to his left, Okayoshi with it. Godar now. He gets it forward to Sandy Kong. They try to play somebody through. McGraw wins the foot race. Good job from the freshman, just staying alert and not letting the Thundering Herd in for free. Vistier plays a long ball up to Ballack. Tries to cut it off in between Okayoshi, but just didn't make great contact. Godar with it now on this left side. And we just heard it is going to be Ronnie McGraw coming out of the game in favor of Jack Burgess, a guy that played a lot last year. He's at the substitution table, and we'll see him come on at the next opportunity. Yannick with it now. Passing around back. Again, the clock is not South Carolina's friend, but it sure is Marshall's, and they're more than happy to just choose some clock, pass it around, and look for a long ball into Sandy King, who looks like he's in onside so far. Goldsworthy's marked him. Pass in the box. DeSantos with it. Does a nice turn, but unable to keep it to his feet. McGraw, good job keeping that to his. And a nice clearance for South Carolina. Back to Yannick. He's got Okayoshi to his left. That's who he plays it to. Ballack in pursuit. And South Carolina, again, 22 and a half minutes now to try and equalize, JP.
Yep, as we are at 22 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and we're just seeing a lot of the same from Marshall, just passing back and forth. In South Carolina, they're being aggressive, but they don't want to be too aggressive and give Marshall a chance to go up 2 goals because that's really a death sentence at this stage of the game.
That is, but you also really want to make them make a mistake. Sandy King called offsides. We will see those substitutions. And also coming to the table, it's Martin Shaia. Bit of a bagsman, if you will. A good goal scorer. Doesn't start many games. He's coming off in favor of Myron coming off in favor of him. He'll get a big applause. As played well tonight, just didn't convert his chances like he usually does. But again, very promising game from him. Jack Burgess in for Ronnie McGraw. And I think both of those two players played really admirably today.
Yep, and now we'll see what the young bloods can kind of bring in. And, the waning stages of this one, Marshall is really playing up defensively, but not like in an aggressive sense. They're just packing that center line.
Yeah, they really, if they're very happy to end this a 2-1 game, and they've showed that. They're not afraid to play it forward. As Goldsworthy goes airborne, Sandy King cut out under him, so it will be a free kick for South Carolina. Love the sportsmanship, though, helping him up, even though he's tried to fight his teammate a little bit earlier.
Yeah, that did happen.
Hey, never forget. But now it's a free kick right at the midfield line. And you got to think 20 minutes left, well, 21, but South Carolina, it's time for them to ramp up the pressure. Relentless pursuit of the ball. Try and make Yannick make a mistake when he's passing out from goal. He's done that a lot tonight. And they just need to capitalize if he does. Bigar whips it into Burgess on this right wing now. See who this goes out on. It's going to be a South Carolina corner. It's a good call, and that's a great play from the fresh sub, Jack Burgess. The noisemakers are in full effect, and JP, what better time than now?
Yeah, as you hit a little over 20 minutes to go in this one,
You're good at, South Carolina has been limited in the corner kick department in this game. And now you have your opportunity to generate something off of it, something South Carolina's been good at over the course of the season, and we will get it underway.
That's right. It's Velasquez Lopez, the corner taker. The box is packed. They run on to goal. It misses completely. Marshall defenders run into each other. There's no contact from a Gamecock. Hughes has it on that left wing. He's got 2 defenders on him. And they strip him of the ball and try and play it forward. And they do, kind of eliminating the pressure a little bit. But the Gamecocks still in pursuit. It's cleared to midfield. Cargill gets it. Heads it forward to Nielsen, who plays it forward. It's kicked straight up in the air. Godar, a nice touch to control that one. But then a errant pass. It's controlled well on the near touchline, and he'll take on Burgess. It's a nice move there from Panholzer. He's got it now from about 25 yards out, moves it to his left foot, a nice dribble move, plays it back. Now he gets it. It's going to be a foul called from someone goes down holding his, can't really tell what he's holding, to be honest with you. It's DeSantos that goes down. He's helped up. Nice play from the official there. You know, if you're going to call the foul, it looks like a bit of a dive, just reach down the hand and help him up because, again, DeSantos is fine, but
Yeah.
could have won an Oscar for that.
Yep, as we are under 19 minutes to play, South Carolina searching for the equalizer, and they're not going to find it with the ball in their own end. And they need to flip the script and get back to what generated chances for them in the first half, where they were getting the ball out in transition, some of those through balls.
Yeah, now this is a really dangerous free kick position. It's going to be taken by Sterngard over the goal, but again, he was the one that scored from distance in that 56th minute, so a big threat, nothing doing there. And, I'm a little surprised Marshall went for goal there. That seemed like a place you could have passed it out to the side. And,
Yeah,
JP,
but
if I was them, I know he's the long-range goal scorer, but, you could kill some clock. Yeah, you score
I just
from
think,
30
I think
minutes.
they're confident in their ability to get
For
the ball
sure.
back and kill it some more. So when you get a chance like that, they're going to take it. But South Carolina can punish them for that. And
Sure can. Cargill has it. He'll look for a switch pass over to Burgess. Nice touch. Just got away from Godar. A good job being right there for it. Penholzer, haven't called his name much tonight, but in the last couple seconds, he's been great. I think he's been that guy, the mystery man on the left wing in the first half we couldn't see because it's just pure darkness over there. As the Gamecocks win a throw, and Velasquez Lopez with it. Gets it back to Burgess. He holds it up. It's played out by Godar. They win another throw-in. Lopez with it now. And they'll direct him to go back. Kowalski now going to take the throw in. He's going to throw it back to Goldsworthy. He's got Bagar to his left again. 2-1. Marshall with the lead with 17:20 left to play. Bit of an errant pass, but heads up play from Alfie Hughes to make sure it doesn't go out of bounds for a free turnover. Bad pass from Cargill in the passing lanes was a Marshall forward. Sandy King with it. Kowalski, great slide tackle. That was key right there, JP.
Yep, and he dislodged the ball from man perfectly. He avoided committing a costly penalty, and it's really just what you want to see in this stage of the game when you're desperately needing a big play there when you do turn it over on your own end.
That's right. They play it back to Okayoshi, and JP, something we haven't mentioned tonight. Got 300 soldiers from Fort Jackson in the crowd tonight. They've been electric on this left side, but a big shout out to them. They're graduating next week, and tell you what, they're being the noisemakers down there, and Marshall's attacking end, and you got to play him credit. Nice spin there from Nielsen. Chia just not enough on the passes. They were looking for the 1-2 play. It's going to be Panholzer with it now on the left side. He cuts off Burgess, and again is going to just send himself in the corner to look to trap this ball. Gets past Burgess, actually. He's going to play it across. Goldsworthy, good job to intercept it. Ballack with it now. It falls to Sandy King after a nice interception, and he sends it into the bushes. And there, JP, probably wonder why he took that shot, as that would have been a miraculous finish if he was able to score that.
I mean, that was closer to hitting us than it was the net. That was
certainly closer to a car. I tell you what, Whaley Street almost saw it.
Wouldn't be the weirdest thing that's ever happened on Whaley Street.
I'm sure not. Floods, car accidents, and
The existence of Union
uh,
/ Saga apartments.
You might be onto something with that. Vistier with it now. Is Marshall again looking to force a turnover, and even though they have a goal lead, they probably feel a lot better about a 2-goal lead. Nielsen controls it in the midfield, gets it back to Cargill. 15 minutes left. Marshall leads 2-1. Gamecocks looking to equalize here in the first game of Sun Belt Conference play in the 2024 season. Shia with it now up front. He slows it down. lets his men get up front. Nice header, intercepts that pass that was intended for Alfie Hughes on that far left side. Marshall just going to play it around back. They work it forward. It's going to be a nice switch ball all the way over to Panholzer. Gets through Kowalski and Kowalski and Burgess. Panholzer with it now. He's working this left wing. He's all the way inside the box now, working a left-footed cross. Kowalski blocks it. Did it go off Panholzer? Nope. It's going to be a corner kick. But again, good deflection there from Kowalski.
Yep, and under 15 minutes to go here in regulation, well, in just play in general. But you know, I'm very interested to see the Gamecocks needs that sense of urgency to kind of kick in. We do have number 16.
It's Grant Mateer.
Yeah, you know, he was started the year as a starter, I believe, on this team. So, you know, South Carolina's depth is really kind of showing off here. But what's more impressive to me is that Marshall really, outside of that one injury, has not made a single sub the entire game.
And as you say that, they sure are now, as Takahiro Fujita is going to, I believe, come to the substitution table. It's Pinto with it. Haven't called his name in a while. He wins a corner for Marshall over there on that far right corner. 14 minutes left. Again, Marshall with a 2-1 lead, but got to give him a lot of credit, JP. I think this is the first time all season where South Carolina looks tired.
You know, that's true. You know, Marshall, it's a lot more taxing to play defense than it is offense. Even though on offense you're doing a lot more running around because everything you do is so high stress in your own defending third. And I think that's starting to get to the Gamecocks a little bit.
Well, and also just having not only to defend, you know, your goal, you're defending against, you're relentlessly chasing this ball that Marshall just seems to have on a string. You know, they're just picking and pulling wherever they can.
And Gabe Atienza, I think, is about to come to the scorer's table as well.
I
Another
love the
former
move from
starter.
Coach Annan because you know, you get some more fresh legs and guys that can run, make plays. So that's sniffed out by Bagar. Sending King with it now. He's going to send it back. And it ends up at the feet of Yannick in net. 13 minutes left. Marshall with a 1-goal lead. South Carolina looking to equalize desperately. Pass played over to Okayoshi. He's got it, some chance breaking out. A little let's go Cox to try and, you know, fire up this team. They play in a deep ball to Panholzer. Goldsworthy sprinting back to defend it. He's all the way in the box. This is a dangerous move. Bagar dispossesses him. He's calling for the penalty. The referee says stand up. You were dispossessed without a foul. What a clutch play.
I actually heard him say that from up here.
Yeah, and a long ball played into Shaia. He's about to overrun Okayoshi. He's cut out from Godar. No foul called. Physical defending. And I think that's fair play, JP.
Yeah, that's a tough, you know, it's kind of the battle of no calls there on both ends. And if one doesn't, if you don't call one, you can't call the other.
Well, Bagar definitely got all ball. This one looked like it was more of a body foul, like, you know, just trying not to let him get anywhere close. This one's played into the box. Vistier claims. You're right, Gamecocks desperately looking to get these subs in, trying to win a corner, do anything. Goldsworthy walks it forward.
That, you know, under 12 to go.
He's going to play it down to Burgess. Godar defends. Gets it up to Ballack. Ballack with it now. Burgess plays it forward. It's Ballack. He's going to have Shaia to his left. He's racing in the box. He's going to fire a left-footed inside the foot shot.
Stop going. God, you know, they just keep going to that short side. And also, they're not like attacking. They're not attacking the goal with, you know, their full speed. They're stopping right before they get there, and it completely derails all bits of momentum they possibly could have had towards maybe rifling it past somebody. If you stutter step like that, you're giving the goalkeeper a chance to kind of, you know, bear down and read what you're about to do, and you're letting the defenders catch up to you. You're not doing anything that's going to help you, and I just truly, that bothers me to my core because that's the third time they've done it.
Yeah, I think the other two were a lot more questionable than that. Ballack there, that angle is really tough. You know, I expected him to pass more than he did shoot because, again, trying to shoot from an angle, you know, about 12, 15 yards out from his right foot. He went for an inside the foot shot. It was no good. Velasquez-Lopez whips it across. It's dangerously held in the box. Marshall, good clearance there. Again, 11:20 left in the second half. Bagar with it. Gets it over to Nielsen. Got to think, we've got all these people forward. Let's, you know, whip in another one. Velasquez-Lopez plays Ballack forward. He's got help. Plays it through the legs of a defender over to Nielsen. Nielsen looks to play forward, but it's headed by Marshall. They're going to win another corner kick for free.
And on the 2 corner kicks so far in this game, Lopez has gone a little. He's gone a little further than you'd think they're intending. You know, the Gamecocks have had guys out in front of the net with position to make a play, but it just leaks a little bit too far. And so I'm interested to see.
This one too much on it, goes out
yeah,
of play for a
well.
goal kick. Well, he wasn't the one that crossed it that time. He played it into Ballack, played it in short, and then Ballack tried to whip it in, and not much doing. Coming back into the game, into the game is Alexander Vukovic, and he's coming in for Teo Goddard, who had a really nice shift, I think, in defense. It's quite good today, and it's going to be a goal kick for Yannick here. 10.5 minutes left, 10:36 to be exact. And the Gamecocks built a lot of positive momentum there, but again, didn't really put a good shot on goal.
Nope, and that's been kind of the story of this game. And another whistle has stopped the clock. I don't think they played it. I don't think they were ready to play it in.
Yeah, they're still working over here at the substitutions table.
Awesome.
Yep, they're going to change the clock here because, again,
Yep.
got to respect that, though, you know. And, you know, another thing to respect, the packed crowd here at Stone Stadium still here.
Yep.
Again, we've got a really good one. South Carolina just got 10.5 minutes to tie this game up. And if you score once, yeah, might try and do it again. We'll have to see. The crowd really trying to push this team. They've got a lot of fresh legs in. You know, one mistake changed the course of this game. Marshall has it now in the midfield. DeSantos with it. Those fresh legs, you can see the difference. They look a lot quicker. A slide tackle from Goldsworthy wins them the ball. Ballack with it now. Coming forward is Alfie Hughes. They play it all the way across the field to Shia.
That was like a post-corner fade.
Yeah, really interesting. Shia wins it over there cleanly. He's going to send in across. Alfie Hughes was running in, and that ball is still in the box, headed out of play on that far side touchline. 10 minutes left. It's going to be a throw-in. Gamecocks are going to have Goldsworthy take it as he can put a little mustard on it and try and get it as close to the box as they can.
And, you know, if you really look into it, this might be South Carolina's best chance in these final 10 minutes. And we're just under 10 minutes to play, but, you know, you're kind of got them on their heels a little bit. And this is the moment for South
Deflection City right here, you know, that's what you hope for. They get one. Velasquez Lopez sends in across. Nielsen heads it towards goal, just gets a finger on it, is Yannick, as that one was headed top corner, and what a save. I mean, with all the mistakes he's made passing the ball in net, he has made 3 or 4 outstanding saves.
I mean, say like this is the crossbar. That ball was going like right up the
he was
literally
tuck right under.
It would have fit like
Yeah.
a Lego piece, but he just barely got a hand to it and batted it out of there.
Yeah, he pushed it up on top of the crossbar and out of play. Velasquez Lopez whips it across. Goldsworthy to it, just over the net. 9 minutes, under 9 now. Again, Marshall 2-1 lead. South Carolina, huge opportunity, but that shows them they can do it. They got to keep this kind of momentum going. And God, that header from Nielsen was so close. He looked like Will Levis out there, and
Yeah.
he fell to his knees as he knows that would have been a golden chance to equalize. But, you know, you just got to give credit to the keeper there. That was a heck of a save from Yannick. Haven't said his first name, Alexa Yannick. Let's give him a little credit. You know, he's been excellent in goal. Kowalski heads the ball back to Velasquez Lopez. The Gamecocks will have possession, and they've just got to, you can't let Marshall just take the ball. As Panholzer gets wrapped up, it's going to be a throw-in. Velasquez Lopez maybe got away with a little shove there.
He form tackled him like this was football.
Pretty good. There is a hold there on Shia, but nonetheless, it was headed out of bounds.
They called it, I think.
No, I think they're just signaling the throw-in. They're going to call it timeout here. As Panholzer still talking to him. Pull out the card, ref. There we go.
Yep.
There you go. Tarek Panholzer.
And listen to those noise makers.
Tell you what, he's fired up. The kid from Germany just wouldn't let the official go, and at that point, he's got to say, hey, I got something for you. Goldsworthy has it. He plays it to his left. That's Nielsen.
It's his license to officiate.
That's right. Bagar, he's going to whip in a left-footed cross. It goes all the way into the box. Ballack running in behind. Velasquez Lopez plays to his feet on the edge of the box. Panholzer wins the ball. It looked like he got a little shove there, but they didn't call it. He's going to take on Kowalski. Great slide tackle. Down goes Panholzer, and they win the ball. How about it, Camden Kowalski? He launches in a big throw-in. Marshall has possession here on this near side touchline. Plays it back to Velasquez Lopez. He's got a man in the box. Shaia just lurking at that back post. He's going to try and whip in across, but he's got 3 guys on him. Plays it down, and Ballack just wasn't ready for it.
The clock will stop with 7:09 to play.
For a substitution coming into the game, it's Joao Roberto. See who he... The crowd really rallying behind this team. This has been the best 10 minutes they've played, I think, since they scored a goal, without a doubt.
Absolutely. I mean, the fire's been lit.
You know, they're not going down without a fight here against number 10 Marshall.
They sure aren't. Coming off his Pinto, and a villain's welcome, I guess, from this crowd.
Yes.
But again, here's a Marshall throw in the Gamecocks. The pressure's been here. Just got to make it count. Marshall plays it out of play. Goldsworthy with a throw in. Gets it over to Kowalski, and Gamecocks just looking for that one chance. Kowalski with it now. He plays it back to Goldsworthy, who wisely plays it over to Nielsen as somebody's up there. Relentless pursuit. Can't quite get a number. It's going to be played in for Kowalski out back. The defender making the run. That ball goes out of play for a throw, and good call there. And a nice job from Goldsworthy to quickly collect the ball. He takes the throw in. Tries to get it forward to Shia. Headed back out of play. 6:30 left to go. Again, Marshall.
They're getting
2-1
bailed
lead.
out on these a little bit, but some of these throw-ins are just, they're so fast that they're kind of useless.
Yeah, Kowalski into the box. Tries to head it forward. Ballack might get to it first. DeSantos just edges him out in the foot race, excuse me. Ballack, nice tackle. Just brings him down. It's going to be a yellow card for Ethan Ballack. And that's... It's a tough call. Again, I think if he didn't pull him down, it would have been clean because he got the ball first, but
That's a tough break.
really it's going to be a free kick. Marshall, 6:11 left on the clock. It stopped for a moment.
Yeah, but with 6:11 to play, how many more chances are you going to get if you're the Gamecocks? You know, it's
Well,
just
right now they're getting them.
they
just
are,
gotta,
but you know, it's just
got to keep with
you're
that fire.
you're working with an expendable amount of chances.
And an experienced group of time wasters as well.
I mean, yeah, good lord.
And wisely so.
They're running QB Neal out here.
And you can't discredit them because,
I can. There's no honor in this.
well, you know, I'll let you discuss that with Coach Grassi.
Chills. Oh, the soccer gods.
Another throw in for Kowalski there. He gets it over to Goldsworthy. Nielsen with it now. Up to Bagar on that far side. Gets it back. Vistier with it in net. 5.5 to play. Ethan Ballack is just free on this right side. They're going to play it all the way forward to Alfie Hughes. Make the defense. Bit of a high cleat there, but, I mean, Shaia almost left without his head.
Yeah, she almost just got introduced to that sweet chin music.
That's right. Velasquez Lopez with it now. Play it in. It's cleared. Back to the midfield. Nielsen with it. And again, JP in soccer, I believe they call this parking the bus. You've got about 11 Marshall players on the defensive side of the halfway line. And it's just protect the net at all costs. Under 5 now to go. The Gamecocks desperately trying to
This is
score
where you're
one
missing
here.
Harrison Byring. You know, someone who can take the top off a defense and win some of those 50-50 head battles.
Yeah, he's rather tall up front. Ballack wins that one. It's into net. Yannick with it now. He's going to cover up. Shia was trying to pressure that ball. And again, you know, I'm a little surprised they haven't put in Myring for maybe a defense player. You know, you take a defenseman out. You're not really worried about Marshall scoring another goal right now because if you don't score, you lose anyway. Bagar, big header. It's going to be a foul call on Marshall, wisely so, as again, you can't come under a player who's up in the air. That's very dangerous.
Yep, and that's not the first time that's happened tonight, Spencer.
Second or third on Marshall as well. 4:10 left here in this second half. Goldsworthy with it. And the Gamecocks, you got to think they're going all out attack here soon. If they can, got to beat the Marshall press first. Kowalski with it. He gets it all the way back to Vistier. Under 4. The Gamecocks desperately looking to get in behind. And you know, you can't be offsides, but Ballack, wisely, Okayoshi's playing that really well. He's ready to turn like a DB and just run. Yep, and wisely, he wins the header. Ballack does have possession. Gets it to Hughes. It's played to Kowalski. Hughes got to keep moving forward. He whips in a right-footed cross. It looks pretty good. Chia gets his head to it in the box. Ballot coming forward. Deflected away. Atienza in the midfield. Gets it to Velasquez Lopez. 3.5 to go. Bagar with it now. A nice play, though, from Hughes, whipping in a really good cross. Over on that far side, can't quite make out who that is. I think it's Mateer. Goldsworthy with it now as the Gamecocks look to re-enter that attacking zone. Atienza with it now. Up to Ballack. Looking for a little give and go. They get it to Hughes. Atienza looked for another ball in, but there was nobody on that backside. Just a little miscommunication. And the Marshall defenders are just going to lay down here, and that's a little sorry.
That'll stop the clock, though, with 2:57 to go.
That's true. Hopefully everybody's okay. But again, thankfully the official does stop the clock, because otherwise,
That would have been brutal.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that would have been, like,
they're just
borderline unholy.
two guys at the same time just full out sprawled and did like, oh no, I'm dead.
I mean, the Wilhelm scream probably played out when that happened. I mean, it was the most.
And you know what? As they're going to stretch out some cramps, but for South Carolina, this gives them a free timeout.
It
You
does.
get to come huddle around
you
Coach
get
Hannon.
Under 3 to go. How are you going to? You only have so many chances to make the most of what you get. So in those moments where you've kind of you've pitter pattered around, maybe a good attempt, just rip it, man. You never know. At this point, you probably should be selfish.
Yeah, and Yannick, he's done a really good job with the shots from up close. But you got to try and test him from some different ranges, some different angles, or he's been great right in front of you. So got to think about that. Maybe play an extra pass to get around him, or got to do something different, or just finish a little bit better. Because right now, I mean, he looks like a brick wall back there, and that's tough.
Yeah, and it's moments like these where I bet the Gamecocks wish they could pull the goalie like you do in.
That might be. I know you can bring the goalie forward. I guess you could also pull him for a random guy, but he'd probably have to change jerseys. It'd be a big thing. But Vistier is a big old body. You could throw into the box on a corner kick. Last 30 seconds. That's what I do. You have somebody that really can't mark someone, and that.
And the longer it takes Marshall's training staff to get off the field, the more of a break the Gamecocks have.
It gives both teams a break, but they got a timeout, some water, and some rest. And after running all around, got to think they'll take it. It's going to be a drop ball. 2:57. The clock will start whenever Yannick, the goalie for Marshall, kicks it. Clock does start here. He hasn't kicked it just yet, but they signal for it to start. Shia trying to press on it. Nielsen heads it away. Mateer in pursuit. It goes out of bounds. And again, Marshall, the players are going to act like they don't have hands, so they can go, oh no, I dropped the ball, and they just keep doing this cycle. It's smart, they're time wasting, but that's how you do it in soccer. They're going to play it forward. Goldsworthy cuts it out, and they play it far to João Roberto. He gets it up front. I mean, how good is Goldsworthy, man?
I mean, he should win. I don't know what.
That's a handball there. There's a good call from the official. 2:15 left again. South Carolina desperately needs a goal, and Goldsworthy looking a little shaken up, but I think you'd have to stretcher him off if he would.
Absolutely. I mean
this
that,
guy
man's,
would.
that man's only leaving in a body bag. He's been, I think, the total MVP. Harrison Meyer's put up the goal stats.
Offensive MVP, him and Ballack, for sure.
But, Goldsworthy has secured this back line to such a insane degree that it's worthy a guess.
Nielsen gets it over to Atienza. Marshall really applying the press. 1:45 left. Vistier, you got to think, you got to get this ball forward. Get it over the head of Ballack. Kowalski gets taken down. It's headed into the crowd.
Hey,
Dad's in there trying to get the ball in.
Yep.
Ishia, it goes to him. Marshall defender just caves. Mateer with it outside the box, and they finally call a foul, but it's against Marshall.
I mean, that was a complete, it was like a car accident.
Clock finally stops. Thought it would have stopped earlier, but, JP, we'll do a little reenactment.
Yeah.
Shia came here, and then the other guy just, he just,
boom.
Yep, that's a good demonstration right there. A good tackle. Wrapped the arms around him, but.
Hey, head in the hole.
That's right.
Like
the helmet was coming off there.
Yeah, that was a
big hit, but 119, 2-1 Marshall lead. Huge opportunity, the fans getting those noisemakers together, the students on their feet, as well as the soldiers. Velasquez Lopez to whip it in. You've got everybody except one player to his left pretty much in the box or on the outside edge. The official's going to secure the line. He blows the whistle. It's go time for Lopez. He's going to hold. The clock starts on his kick. He whips it in. Yannick comes out. He doesn't get a clean punch. It's free just outside. Ball goes over the goal. It's going to be a goal kick. Apparently the first shot was from Bagar. The second one, not from Einar Ness, excuse me, it was maybe Panholzer that deflected it. Not sure, but just over the top of the net. You got to think Marshall's going to try their best to time waste here under a minute.
But the clock will stop with 52 seconds left. Not
52
sure why.
seconds. Yannick with it now. You know, they've got it. South Carolina, again, you've got a chance if you can just win possession here. This is a huge header. Atienza wins it. It's over the head. Shaia has it. It's a diving header from a Marshall defender to win it. Ballack has it now. The ball's kicked into the stands. It's a throw-in. 35 seconds left. Kowalski with it. You got to play it forward. Kowalski running throw-in. He launches it to Shaia. 30 seconds. He heads it into the box. Goldsworthy heads it on. Yannick will secure it. 25 seconds left, and JP, again, he's going to just Superman dive on the ball here, and got to think this one might be over.
Yeah, that's gonna take, I think, all the air out of it as the fans are going to start hitting the exits.
Yannick just punts it into the midfield. Bagar cuts it out, and it's played out, but that'll do it. Marshall comes away with a hard-fought victory. And they go 1-0 in Sun Belt play. The Gamecocks lose their first game of the season here at Stone Stadium and in the season in general. Very hard-fought performance tonight.
They left it all out there. I mean, the guys are literally like laying on the grass. You know, this Marshall showed why they're the number 10 team in the country, but I think South Carolina showed why, like Coach Annan said in the pregame, that, you know, if they repick the Sun Belt standings, like the projected finish, South Carolina would be much higher than 6. And I think that they kind of put the conference on notice tonight. It's a tough loss. You know, first loss of the season is always maybe the toughest other than the last. But, you know, they'll come back on Tuesday against Queens University. And so, you know, it's just a tough loss. But, Spencer, I think South Carolina can hold their heads high after this one and just get back to the drawing board for the rest of Sun Belt play.
That's right. And, again, you know, the loss isn't a killer. You know, it is a loss, but I feel like this is a game they can learn so much from. Because Marshall plays a style, a team we have not seen play like this all season long. A defensively minded team, possession-oriented, and they scored goals, and the Gamecocks were just unable to capitalize on their opportunities. But you got to think this sets you up for, you know, a great lesson here learned. And, again, you can keep your head held high because they performed really, really well. They dropped their first one. They move on to 4-1-2 on the season. And, again, JP, I think that's all we've got for you tonight. So have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.